lot of history between these two teams. There's a look at sixth-year head coach Norv Turner of the San Diego Chargers. He's been the head man in Oakland and with the Redskins. Romeo Crennel was a head coach in Cleveland, was the assistant last year. They fired Todd Haley. He's the interim coach and given the full-time duties in the offseason. We've had the flip of the coin. The Chargers have won. They will receive, coming in at 2-1 and trying to shake off the effects of last week's 27-3 loss at home. Ryan Succop, who had 6 field goals last week, including the game-tying field goal and the game-winning field goal, will boot it. Richard Goodman is deep for the Chargers. 1-2 Kansas City and 2-1 San Diego. And away we go in Kansas City with Goodman out of Florida State, bringing it from deep out. A bit of a breeze right there. Jaleel Brown brings him down. A 32-yard return, which brings us to the Charger quarterback, making his 100th consecutive start today, the veteran Philip Rivers.
Everything for Philip Rivers begins with keeping a clean pocket where he can step up and deliver the ball accurately down the field. You do that and he'll put up the big numbers. He talked about getting in rhythm early going on in this game at Arrowhead Stadium. And
there will be a change today in the starting lineup for San Diego because not Ryan Matthews, but Jackie Battle will be starting at running back.
Yeah, against his former team here in Kansas City.
On the 24, 1st and 10. Gaither with the block at the left tackle. This is Battle, who gets a block from Floyd. He works his way up to the 37, a 14-yard catch and run. Belcher brings him down. That is a first down with Gaither now playing that left tackle. He was with the Chiefs. He was let go. He played 5 games last year, and he went, the Chargers did 4-1. And we mentioned Battle. There have been fumbling issues with Ryan Matthews, of course, and he'll begin the game on the bench, but will certainly play today. 1st and 10. This is Battle out of the University of Houston. Stacked up and brought down. Eric Berry among a couple in there for the Chiefs, along with Dontari Poe. Katoa Tua will be on the defensive line today for the Kansas City Chiefs defensively. Glenn Dorsey is inactive. He will not play, a calf injury Thursday in practice. They take a look at some pretty good linebackers. This Houston is an emerging player for the Chiefs. 3 sacks last week. He's had a ton over the last 8 games going back to last year. Abe Elam will start in the secondary. Kendrick Lewis will miss another game for Kansas City with a bad right shoulder here in the preseason. It's 2nd down and 10. Battle slowed down initially by Tamba Hali, the Pro Bowler. Coming in, no gain on the play. They stay at the 37.
Tamba Hali does a really good job of closing in on the backside. Remember, they want to cut you off and wall off the backside if we got an early scrum.
You know, Gaither's in the middle of it.
Yeah, he can ill afford to have an early exit from this game. But Tamba Hali, the backside end, really good on this play. You're going to see it, Kevin. Watch. Number 91, knife in as they collapse that whole side. Look at him. He comes in unblocked. Very disciplined. Now they're going to set him up for the bootleg play later. Of course, you won't get a lot of bootleg with Philip Rivers.
Renas is the extra defensive back. Royal is the extra receiver. 3rd and 10. Rivers, his receiver slipped, and that was the tight end. There goes a flag. It's a late flag. Eric Berry was there. The regular officials are back, and already they get booed on the joust between 2 pretty good players, Gates and Berry.
Pass interference. Number 29 defense. First down, spot of the foul.
Berry, I thought, kind of had a hold of him. Let's watch. Tight coverage, man-to-man, right there. See the grab of the jersey? It was just a short grab of the jersey. That's an old pro move. Look at the backhand right there. Defensive backs, we know how to get away with those, but with the regular refs back, you're not getting away with that one, Kevin.
Fullback is LaRon McClain, another former Kansas City player. First down on that 15-yard penalty to the 47 of the Chiefs. Gaither another good block at the left tackle. And we just talked about McClain, and he had a tough place to go right there because Eric Berry was on him. It's a loss of 2 and back to the 49.
You know, coaches, they talk all the time to players about making sure they have the right footing, the right shoes on. It's not particularly wet out there. As Norv Turner's, you know, he's trying to put together some plays to give the weapons surrounding Phillip Rivers an opportunity to make plays. If McClain makes the catch, he's going to have a nice gain on that play if he doesn't slip.
Now, you and I were at practice on Friday, and they said this field has not been played on in 3 weeks.
It is a great looking field, and no reason to slip in open field unless you overstride.
Second down, 12. Rivers going deep, and he's got Meacham. Nice breakup right there by Abram Elam at about the 5, incomplete.
Well, I thought Rivers was a little late on that throw because he had Abram Elam beat. And watch, you look at the top. Here's Meacham. Now watch this right now. Ball's got to be out in front, and don't throw it to that pylon. You got to keep it to the inside where he had Elam beat. And you can see how Meacham had to spin and wheel around. That was a rare, inaccurate throw downfield. You can see the ball sort of wobbly a little bit. Rare, inaccurate throw from Phillip Rivers.
Ronnie Brown is checked in the backfield. 5 in the secondary. 3rd and 12 for Rivers. Game's first possession. Rivers and Floyd with the grab, and Jaleel Brown was beaten, and down he goes with the tackle by Elam. A catch and run to the 22, a 27-yard pickup, and a first down for San Diego.
Malcolm Floyd gets number 26, Stanford route, likes the bump, press, and run. Great throw this time by Rivers. Great anticipation as Floyd gets it on the back shoulder, and Stanford route couldn't do anything to prevent Floyd from coming down with the catch.
You're right, Route was the defensive player across the way. He has taken the place of Brandon Carr, who went as a free agent to Dallas. Floyd is the leading San Diego receiver. They're going to challenge it.
They're going to challenge what if he had possession fully and completely in bounds before stepping out. Take a look.
Kansas City is challenging the spot of forward progress.
His heel hit the chalk, it appeared.
Yeah, but he had 2 feet in before that heel hit, right?
Yes. Challenge early in the game at Arrowhead, 11:07 to play in the first quarter. There's Romeo Crennel, who has thrown out the challenge flag. He is contesting a catch moments ago by Floyd.
After reviewing the play, the receiver stepped out of bounds with his left heel just short of the 28-yard line. With the clock operator
right there.
at 11:45
he does step out
on the game clock. And we will wind 11:45. Thank you.
And if you remember, he broke out of that attempted tackle by Stanford route, created more yards after the catch. So Romeo was contesting that the ball had been out of bounds per the foot of Malcolm Floyd. So they're not going to give him full credit for the yards after the catch.
The spot of the ball will be at the 28. 21-yard reception by Floyd. Battle had the catch and run of 14. They had a penalty on Eric Berry of Kansas City for 15 on a drive that started back at about the 24-yard line. Battle is in. 1st and 10 San Diego. Derek Johnson watches that. Here comes the much talked about Justin Houston. He got a hand on the arm of the cocked right throwing hand of quarterback, and a flag is thrown. Rivers felt the pressure that time that came from the right side. And another flag.
Justin Houston is going to be a thorn in Phillip Rivers' side all day.
Look at the combination of Ali on one side
Absolutely.
and Houston on the other.
And this offensive line, as you mentioned in the open, for the Chargers, has been struggling to protect their quarterback.
Pass interference. Number 29 defense. First down, spot of the foul.
That's 2 penalties on Berry here on this first drive.
There, you're having trouble with Gates. Look at that. Play coverage with your feet, not your hands, Kevin. See, whenever you do that, they're going to catch you. Eric Berry, if you're going to cover a 10-year veteran, a future Hall of Famer like Antonio Gates, you play coverage with your feet and not your hands.
Eric Berry said he watched a lot of tape of what Charles Woodson has done in the past. Using his hands, he said, but getting caught here. It's 1st and 10, game's opening drive. Battle who will battle his way to the one. Hit by Ali and grabbed on the play by Elam. A burst of 12. It's 1st and goal, San Diego.
How about that? Jackie Battle gets the start. And look at this. Just great blocking. He hits the hole. And what did Eric Berry tell us, a former teammate of Jackie Battle's here in Kansas City? He's big, but he's faster than you think. And from the way he exploded through that hole, I would say Eric Berry is right.
With the 2 tight ends, 1st and goal. Battle hit behind the line. That was the Pro Bowler Derek Johnson, the leading tackler. Loss of 2, back to the 5.
Well, sometimes you got to blitz the run, not just the pass and trying to get to the quarterback in order to get penetration and stop the run game. As Derek Johnson showed you there, shoot the gap, get into the backfield, and you've got to be able to make this tackle. Look, meeting the running back in the backfield is the best chance of stopping a run play. That's just a veteran heads-up play, sensing the play coming to you and getting downhill from your linebacker position and getting into the backfield.
Philip Rivers had some nice things to say about Derek Johnson yesterday, didn't he?
He's one of the best in the NFL, certainly one of the best on, I think, the growing talented linebacking core here in Kansas City.
Ronnie Brown is out. Daniels back there on the secondary watching, and that's a touchdown pass of 4 yards. It goes to Eddie Royal. And on the opening drive, the San Diego Chargers have made a loud and distinct message sent.
Javier Arenas matched up against Eddie Royal, left side of your screen. There he is right there. And he beat him from the word go. And we talked about it, Kevin, when Philip Rivers said, coming out of training camp, he said, if any of my receivers I thought was ready to have a breakout year was Eddie Royal. And I thought that Eddie Royal was going to get plenty of Philip Rivers' attention in this game today.
That's Royals' 10th career touchdown reception. Here's the Novak extra point. So they had big plays on that drive, a couple of important penalties on Eric Berry, big runs by Battle, and then it's Royal in the end zone from Rivers. So you can see right there the 3rd opening drive touchdown allowed this season. It puts the Chiefs in an early hole.
Well, they've traditionally have gotten off to a slow start. Same thing happened last week against the New Orleans Saints. The offense has struggled to score points early in games. They've gone 20 consecutive games without scoring a touchdown on the opening drive. That's the longest streak in the NFL currently.
And Drone will bring it out. John Drone, when Hill is out, he'll take on more importance today as Ingram makes the stop on the special teams for the San Diego Chargers. A 29-yard return. And again, more shoving after the play between these two. And taking a look now, Matt Castle, who completed 59% of his passes last season. That's exactly where he's at right now.
And one thing both quarterbacks talked about, Kevin, is getting off to a fast start. Philip Rivers did that, taking his team 76 yards in 9 plays. Now let's see if Castle could do it. I already said they haven't scored a touchdown on the opening drive for 20 consecutive games. Now would be a good time to break that streak.
And with Matt Castle, it's almost been consistency issues more than anything else.
Absolutely, and just being steady and not having 3 consecutive possessions of going 3 and out and really having good ball control on offense.
Castle 1st and 10. Bo gets the ball near side, working on Antoine Cason. 7-yard pickup right off the bat, and the Chiefs up to about the 29.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Get it to Dwayne Bowe. Good rhythm, good throw, come out, getting the ball over to his best weapon. Dwayne Bowe, he can be a handful as well. I thought quick passes to the wide receivers in this game, as you can see, they do get the hit on Matt Castle, but not before he gets the completion.
Couple tight ends. Gain of 7 on the previous play. 2nd down and 3. And they go again across the way. Jammer this time victimized by the quarterback. Bo picks up 8 after getting 7. And that is a 1st down for the Chiefs. Ryan Lilja, 100th career game played today. 1st ever as a starting center. Jeff Allen is a rookie starting at the left guard where Lilja was. Hudson's out for the year with a broken bone in his leg. And Jamal Charles, what can you say? The NFL's #1 rusher so far through the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. On the 37, 1st and 10. Charles with the block this time. And intercepted by Weddle. They were going for Bo, and blockers ahead, and Castle will try to get him and can't. And finally brought down across the way by McCluster. A 21-yard return. Eric Weddle comes up with the pick, his second of the season, and look where he puts the San Diego offense.
He shouldn't throw it. He's on the far hash going clear to the numbers. He throws it late, and he throws it inside. And so when you're that far away, you just should not throw this ball if you're Matt Castle, particularly with the position Eric Weddle had covering underneath the Dwayne Bowe. And if you're the quarterback, Matt Castle, you just have to make a better decision. There's no way you're going to complete that pass throwing it through the defender.
He's had Kansas City's number, dialing up right there. Third opening drive turnover forced by San Diego this season.
Not the start Matt Castle wanted.
Matthews is in the backfield. It's from the Chiefs 28. Rivers smelling blood. It's off to Matthews, who had 5 catches last week. He's got Vasquez in front, and he is finally brought down on the play by Flowers among a couple. A 13-yard catch and run. Another first down for San Diego to the Chiefs 15.
And Matthews had been battling a broken clavicle through the preseason, but he did this really well last week. Catching the ball in the backfield. Look at the opening. Now watch. 2 hands on the ball right now. And you saw how he had one hand go to the ground. The ball was exposed. That's how he fumbled inside the 5-yard line on a real great drive last week against the Atlanta Falcons.
There's been some talk they're going to limit where he gets the ball from now on.
But at the end of the day, when he gets it, he's got to protect it as he's going to the ground.
First and 10. Ryan Matthews. Drilled Ali. Loss of 4. Back to the 19.
Just a great play. He beats Luis Vasquez, the right guard. Watch the right guard pull. He gets right past him and knifes in to smack Ryan Matthews. Vasquez, if you're going to pull from your right guard position, got to do a better job of blocking Tamba Hali. He's quick and fast, knifing in on the play.
Rosario, 1 of 2 tight ends, second down and 14. Gave through a good block. That is caught. Gates. He's down to the 6. The ball they thought might be loose. Eric Berry is there. A 13-yard catch as Rivers is carving him up.
He's getting the best of Eric Berry. And if you're Berry, what you can't do is you look at the left side of your screen. You can't let him get across your face. You can never allow the inside receiver to get underneath, across your face. It's just too easy of a throw for Phillip Rivers. What you do is you take away something from a receiver or a tight end. And I think you've got to take away the inside, force him to the outside. It's a longer throw for the quarterback.
Rivers 6 of 7 so far. Very good start, and calls a timeout right here with a 7-0 lead and 6:38 to play in the first.
Welcome back to Arrowhead Stadium. This is how Antonio Gates is beating the wide receiver. Or I should say Eric Berry, the defensive back. We're going to show you here, and watch him just goes inside. And if you've got to deny that inside move by Antonio Gates, and look at that. It's just too easy for the quarterback and tight end to get open and make catches. And Berry right now has his hands full covering Antonio Gates.
Chiefs in the nickel. Brown in the backfield. 3rd and a long 1. Oh, he's got great time. Good coverage. Small window. He was looking for Royal. They had all kinds of people back there, including Brandon Flowers.
I just thought Phillip Rivers should have thrown this one away. He puts the ball in harm's way. Now, he's not real mobile. He buys a little time. You don't want to step out of bounds here because now you lose yardage on the play. But watch this throw. There was no window. 2 defensive players there. Just throw it away.
Good coverage as well by linebacker Derek Johnson. So now they're going to try for 3, and the Chiefs do their job, holding him out of the end zone. 24-yard field goal try by Nick Novak, taking the place of Nate Kading, who had a groin injury Friday in practice. 3 more on the board for the San Diego Chargers. Novak, who battled Kading in preseason and lost, was living in San Diego. They need him now, and he kicks 3 in, and it's 10-0 the Chargers. Beautiful Kansas City, Tuesday on CBS. See why Vegas is the #1 news show on television. And if you have it on your DVR, watch it soon. Vegas, only on CBS. Weddle with an interception, giving San Diego great field position. Novak then booms one in from 24. The first drive They got a couple of penalties. Gates was tangling with Eric Berry, who already they're going at right off the top. A 15-yard penalty on Berry, a 13-yard penalty as he was trying to clutch onto Gates. And they get a 4-yard touchdown pass to Royals. The Chiefs going to get it for a second time.
And there's Eric Berry. I think Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates are just lucky and happy to see single coverage in Antonio Gates. Most people tend to use double coverage, but they believe the safety Berry can handle him by himself.
Sean Drone out of North Carolina will bring it out for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Ingram had a hand on him as he takes it out right there, and Gilchrist comes up too with the tackle, a 24-yard return, and so the Chiefs and quarterback Matt Castle will get it for a second time. Castle now with the pick has thrown 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in the early going of the season.
And Eric, what did Castle tell us when we sat down and talked with him on Friday? He says, hey, I'm going to take what the defense gives me. I'm just going to take the check down. I'm going to play the sticks. I thought he tried to get a little bit too much out of that play, and boy, did it come back to bite him.
A cluster atop your screen, first down and 10. The Chiefs were down last week by a ton too, down by 18, and they came back on the road at New Orleans. Oh, somebody was moving. False start.
False start. Number 81. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Moiaki, tight end. Abriah Franklin in the middle of that line. Gray still injured for San Diego. An emerging player at linebacker is Donald Butler, surrounded by veterans. Phillips is the veteran. Spikes 15 years in the NFL. They just got Jared Johnson from Baltimore. They love the way he stops the run on the edge. And we've talked about Eric Weddle already, with already a big interception in this game. First down and 15 with the penalty. Charles. Fumble and recovered on the play by the San Diego Chargers. Grabbed by Phillips. Another turnover, but look where it is this time. At the 6. First and goal, Chargers.
Wow. This is not the start the Kansas City Chiefs talked about when we spoke with them on Friday. And you just can't get outside. Look, against a 3-4 defense, they contain the ball. You have to press up the line of scrimmage. There's the rip and the rake
Legent.
right there by 94, Corey Legent. He's able to get it out. Second-year player, and they get the recovery. Great field position now for the San Diego Chargers. It's tough to come into Arrowhead Stadium and play this well in the first quarter like what we've seen from San Diego.
Well, we were wondering how the Chargers would respond to last week's 27-3 loss at home, and Norv Turner's got the team ready. They flew in on Friday. We focused yesterday in our meetings with them. Battles in the backfield right now. A couple tight ends. First and goal. Jackie Battle. And that is a 1-yard line spot, a gain of 4.
Boy, they're just ramming hard. Center, Nick Hartwick, Tyrone Green, the left guard, and of course Jarrett Gaither on that left side. That's where they're hammering away. Boy, that looked close to a touchdown. They're saying the knee touchdown just before he hit the goal line.
Battle led the Chiefs in rushing last year when Jamal Charles was injured early in the season. Battle was the guy, signed as a free agent with San Diego. Signed as a free agent with the Chiefs back in 07. Second goal for 1. Multiple tight ends, Battle, touchdown. A 1-yard touchdown, and the Chargers cash in on the Charles fumble.
Boy, the San Diego Chargers have made a statement here today in Kansas City. And how about this? Playing with Romeo Crennel's backup running back from 1 year ago in Jackie Battle, who's also made a statement in this game. Look at the hard running. They're pulling Tyrone Green, the left guard, run right behind him. And Battle is a big, strong runner. He's capable of powering it in at 6'2", 240.
He only had 3 carries last week against the Atlanta Falcons, but 1 was good for 52 yards. Fumbling issues with Matthews last week in the red zone. And Battle gets the start today. And on the first drive, he had a catch run of 14 and a run of 12. Just had a 1-yard touchdown run right there. Extra point now by Nick Novak. Makes it a 17-0 San Diego Charger lead. A fumble by Charles. A 1-yard touchdown run by Battle. And early at San Diego. Well, we've had an interception thrown by Castle. A fumble by Charles at the Kansas City 6. Chargers cashing in on those 2 turnovers and up 17-0. 5.5 to play here in the first quarter. Nick Novak with the kick, and Sean Drone is going to take it out again for the Chiefs. Goodman got an initial hit on him. 25-yard return to the 20-yard line.
Chargers have taken advantage of great field position by way of 2 turnovers, the interception, Eric Weddle picking off Matt Castle, setting up good field position. That would set up a field goal. And then the Jamal Charles fumble. The San Diego Chargers get the ball inside the 5-yard line, turn it into a touchdown. They've scored 10 points off 2 turnovers already in this game, and this has sort of been the norm for the Kansas City Chiefs. They've allowed 44 points so far this season off turnovers.
Copper is the 3rd receiver, 1st and 10. Jamal Charles. Weddle got a hand on him. Also Butler. It is a gain of 2 to the 22-yard line.
Jamal Charles is not going to be able to get outside as easily on this defense as he was able to against the New Orleans Saints 1 week ago. Remember, the Saints run a 4-3 scheme. Easier to get outside on the perimeter against a 4-3 front than it is to do so against a 3-4 front like what the Chargers are playing today. You can see early on the yards have not come easy for Kansas City.
2nd down, 8. Winston a block, and this is Jamal Charles again, and he's hit by the veteran Quentin Jammer on the wing. It's a gain of 5, and he's up to the 26. Charles told us on Friday, he said, we're going to try to fake that stretch and maybe go ahead more up the middle between the guards a little bit more.
Yeah, you got to sell it, and the ability to cut back is really predicated on the Chargers linebackers. If they overflow and run too fast, then you have an opportunity to cut it back. If they play it backside low and slow, then you've got to hit it, and you've got to be more decisive and hit it going downhill much quicker.
A cluster is in. Gilchrist, the extra defensive back, 3rd down and 3. With an elbow injury from last week, Tari Bigby ushers him out of bounds. They pick up 4, and they're just beyond the 30 and a 1st down.
Yeah, and the crowd comes alive here at Arrowhead. And keep in mind, they saw their team last week. As we take a look at this completed pass from Matt Castle, remember, they scored 21 consecutive points in the 2nd half on the road against the New Orleans Saints, down by 18.
Reigns is coming on the defensive line. 2 tight ends, 1st and 10. Blocking by Wing. And then they got free of the block of Winston. Vaughn Martin came in, pressured the play, and that's an incompletion.
You know, Jamal Charles, his ability to provide a spark to help his team come from behind is based on his ability to run the ball. We talk about that stretch play, getting it outside. Watch this play here. This is great vision, and then the anticipation, when to accelerate it and take advantage of the blocking. Nice effect there, but even a greater run than the speed to finish off runs and take it to the house. I think that's where he really excels, and that's why he has such a large per carry average.
Castle with a 2nd and 10. They're bringing Bigby. A little bit short there for Charles. Coverage on the play by Demario Williams. He used to play for the Chiefs as well. 3rd and 10 coming up.
Crowd's not happy with that, but what can you do if you're Matt Castle? He feels the pressure. Maybe he can buy a little bit more time and get out of there as we go ahead and roll it. Watch how they crowd the pocket around him. Look at the traffic around his feet. And so when you can't step into a throw, it's hard to really be accurate throwing the ball, even if the player is only 2-3 yards away, Kevin.
Into the nickel. The cluster is there for the Chiefs. 3rd down and 10. Castle. John Baldwin hit by Phillips. He picks up 2. He's to the 33, shy of the 1st, and the Chiefs have got to punt the ball. And here come the boos cascading down.
I'm sure they want something a little bit more downfield. You're down by 17 points in this ball game. You've got to, everything has been of the short variety. Now, I think if Castle makes better decisions with the ball, you can start to push the ball down the field a little bit more.
Well, Castle last week in passes about 10 yards was 4 of 16. In passes 20 yards or more last week via Pro Football Focus, 0 of 6. Colquitt gets off a rocket. And Royal has a bounce, and down it is. Jaleel Brown is the one to down it after a 61-yard punt by Colquitt. 2:44 in the first. Get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile's free premium access this weekend, including Sunday and Monday night games, NFL Red Zone, and NFL Network access. Call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile, or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. We told you before that Glenn Dorsey was inactive with the calf injury. Peyton Hillis has an ankle. He's not playing. And Nate Kading, we mentioned that story earlier too. Novak taking his place. Some of the key inactives today.
Novak, of course, was in training camp with Norv Turner and the San Diego Chargers. He was released as a final cut. So they bring him back in, and it was just a natural pickup. And Norv Turner said he was surprised that he was still available to pick him up.
Jaleel Brown has come in the secondary for the Chiefs. Here's a 1st and 10. Jackie Battle handoff, and he was hit by Belcher and a couple others in there. And Jarrell Poe. And a gain in the play of 4. Let's go to New York and James Brown.
Foster's 4th rushing touchdown of the season, his 30th since 2010. Back to Kevin and Solomon.
Texans a very strong team.
And Arian Foster, a very strong runner.
Brown right now is in for Flowers. We're trying to foul that up. 2nd down and 7. And the avalanche of red there to make the stop. Jackson was among them. Gain of 2. Jackie Battle up to about the 10-yard line.
And Norv Turner talks about this team, and everybody has such high expectations for the San Diego Chargers. And he says, you know what, we're not that 14-2 team that we were 5 years ago. Look at some of the players who are no longer around. Tomlinson, Turner, Sproles, Jamal Williams, McNeil, guys on that offensive line, Sean Merriman, Vincent Jackson. Only 7 players remain on this year's team that was on that 14-2 team. So they virtually had to rebuild around Philip Rivers.
Again, Flowers on the bench. Here's a 3rd and 5 for Rivers. He's got McMichael in the backfield. And Brown. And they've got the receiver. That is Ronnie Brown with the grab. Working on the side, and it's a catch and run of 22 on 3rd and 5 and a 1st down to the 32.
Coming out of the backfield to the right side. Look at him. They matched up with the safety, and he's able to get over the top. That's Daniels in coverage. You can see Flowers is out of the game. Brandon Flowers. So Daniels comes in, and he should be able, that's usually the matchup. A safety taking a back out of the backfield, but Ronnie Brown's very good at catching the ball out of the backfield.
2 tight ends. Handle in the backfield. Rivers is at 7 different receivers. 1st down and 10. Good time. Battle. Belcher with the beat on him. Out of bounds near midfield. Former teammates getting tangled up across the way. Catch and run of 18. Battle has had a catch and run of 14 and a run of 12. And a touchdown run.
So the running back's out of the backfield. Look, little fake there, little play action. And Philip Rivers has the matchup he wants. Jackie Battle matched up against the linebacker Belcher. And this is what Philip Rivers talked about it. Norv Turner talked about it. Kevin said, we feel like we're really close to being that explosive offense that we want to be. And you can see with players like Battle coming over, giving them some diversity in the backfield, he's making some plays.
Matthews in 1st and 10. Here comes Ali. They got around Gaither, and that's incomplete. And was anybody in the vicinity? They're going to talk. There goes a flag.
Yeah, they got you, Rivers. You didn't have anyone over there. He's pointing. He said my guy went the wrong way.
Philip Rivers.
Intentional grounding. Number 17 offense. Loss of down at the spot of the foul. 2nd down. We will go to the 2nd quarter.
All right, couple turnovers by the Chiefs. The Chargers have cashed in. We return to Kansas City after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. Boy, those are some bad-looking numbers if you're a Kansas City fan.
Yeah, the trend continues, but they have outscored teams 32-6 in the 4th quarter. So stay tuned.
Second down, 23. Battle out there for Ryan Matthews. There was a hit by Justin Houston. There is a flag across the way.
Holding. Number 69 offense. Penalties decline. Third down.
You know, it aided by that penalty on Phillip Rivers. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs defensively, you've got to be able to take advantage of that. More than anything, you got to be able to get off the field on this possession. Force the Chargers to punt, get the ball back for your offense. Defense has to be able to make some plays. You're facing, what, 3rd and 21. You ought to be able to make a play if Phillip Rivers tries to force the ball here.
Still no Flowers for the Chiefs. 6 in their secondary. 3rd down and 21. They get through. Ronnie Brown, blockers ahead, including Vasquez. He's brought down by Jaleel Brown. The catch and run to the 48. It's a gain of 12. It's 4th down, and the Chargers are going to punt the ball.
Well, Kansas City did what they had to do. They forced the punt, be able to get the ball back, and should get some decent field position. The ability to get the ball back and set the table for their offense is important.
Chargers began the game with 3 consecutive scores. Cypress. And out of bounds covering on the play was Michael Spurlock.
And Kevin, the Kansas City Chiefs have had a tough time holding on to the ball. 6 fumbles so far this year. We're only in week 4. It set the table for their opponent, whether it's against Atlanta, whether it's Buffalo. And then, of course, last week against the New Orleans Saints, dug a huge hole for themselves, as they have done here with the first quarter fumble by Jamal Charles, setting up another touchdown by the San Diego Chargers in the first quarter.
Reyes begins this defensive series in the line for San Diego, 1st and 10. One right there by Charles, and he bursts ahead for 6. He's up to the 26-yard line to New York and James.
Shannon, you love the competitive fire with these Falcons.
Down early 7-0 to the Carolina Panthers. Matt Ryan looks for his favorite target, Roddy White. 49-yard touchdown. 7-7 ball game, JB. Carolina, Atlanta.
I don't think my guy Solomon Wilcox would have been turned around like that. Let's take it back to Kevin and Solomon.
Well, thank you, JB, for the benefit of the doubt. You got to be able to find the ball. Always get your head around, right, Kevin?
That's right. Keep your head on a swivel. Drone is atop your screen as a receiver. He's normally a running back. 2nd down and 4. Whoa, is he chopped down? Legit was the one to chop at the ball. Franklin jumped on it. Are they saying it's a fumble? At least that's the ruling right now. Another turnover.
Incomplete pass.
Incomplete.
Quarterback's arm was going forward. Incomplete.
Wow.
Boy, one official across the way was signaling Kansas City's fumble and San Diego's ball.
Coming in from the backside, watch it right here. They're working against the left guard. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to, I think we're splitting hairs here, but I think the officials got it right. They're working against the rookie, Jeff Allen.
North Turner is about 5 yards out onto the field and throws the flag, as you can see.
I think if you're North Turner, it's worth challenging.
I think it was an incomplete pass. I think his arm was going forward. That ball was.
I think it was very close. A hand. Remember, the rule is if an empty palm is coming forward, then that's a fumble.
San Diego is challenging the ruling on the field of a forward pass.
Well, let's get one more look at it.
Wow.
Review.
As we return to Arrowhead
After
Stadium,
reviewing the
Corey
play, the
Liuget
quarterback's
comes
arm
in.
was coming forward with control of the football.
It's going to be
It is
an
an
incompleted
incomplete
pass. Absolutely.
San Diego will be charged their first time out.
Now take a look at this there. The arm is coming forward, Kevin, with the ball still in it. Even though Corey Liuget hits him, Castle's got that arm going forward, and there you see ball coming out. Great call by the refs. I think it was still close to call. And if you're North Turner and you're up by 17, I think you've got to try to use a timeout there to try to get another possession.
Third down and 4.
He's Mike.
Into the nickel, going, he's got Poe wide open. That is a first down catch by Dwayne Bowe. Weddle is the one to bring him down. Mark him at the 37. A catch and run of 36 and a flag.
Did Bowe leave too soon?
A flag has been thrown. Are you looking at? I can't see it on the field.
It was thrown back
it's
at the
way
25
back.
Illegal
yard
formation.
line.
Yep.
Number 74 offense
Winston.
is in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Eric Winston, the right tackle.
Yep, he's right there. I think they're going to get him for just he was set back in the backfield a little bit too much. Bowe had beaten Quentin Jammer on that play. Well, see, set back too far right there. And he's got to be up further on the line of scrimmage, Kevin. That's why they get him for the illegal formation. Wow, taking away a huge big play the Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Right down to 36-yarder. Running back is Cyrus Gray, rookie out of Texas A&M. 5 in the secondary. 3rd and 9. Hit again. This is Phillips knocking the ball away. And San Diego, with great pressure on the quarterback, Castle.
Looked like Castle's at the bottom. He may have it. So a couple of guys have it.
Uh-oh, replay of Monday night.
This
Who's
is
got
a
the ball?
It's a scrum.
Well, not quite, but you get the drift. Chiefs have got it. Castle at the. Oh, look at this. He didn't look. Yeah, he looks like he's a little shaky.
He's taking a pounding in this game, whether it's Corey Liuget, and on this play, Sean Phillips. Look, he beats Eric Winston, and Winston on 2 consecutive plays doesn't play very well.
Well, then they jump on him.
The legal formation and then getting blown by Phillips.
Colquitt the punt. High and not very long. Royal flagged. 49-yard punt. He had a 61-yarder. Did Dustin Colquitt the first time he let one fly from the famous Colquitt punting family. Chargers have intercepted Castle on a pick by Eric Weddle. Jamal Charles fumbled a ball at about the 6. 3 consecutive scores by the Chargers.
Holding, number 15 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
Richard Goodman. So we'll take a timeout. Touchdown pass already in the books for Phillip Rivers with 11:56 to play in the second. We told you before the game that Rivers was pressured more than any other quarterback in the NFL. 45% of his dropbacks had pressure. Last year, only 29%. But today, it looks like he's got some breathing space.
Well, with Jared Gaither back at the left tackle position, they've kept a clean pocket for their quarterback, Phillip Rivers. We said at the open, if you keep him clean, he can make plays throwing the ball down the football field. And we've seen that so far here in the first half.
Good news for the Chiefs. Brandon Flowers is back at the corner. After the 49-yard punt from the 29, first down and 10. Ryan Matthews. Clary trying to throw the block with Vasquez. And looked like Eric Berry had a hand on him along with Javon Belcher. There was no gain on the play. Second down and 10.
We told you they've kept a clean pocket for Phillip Rivers. Well, he's come out and he's throwing darts, dumping the ball off to his backs coming out of the backfield. Good timing on the back shoulder throws to Malcolm Floyd. And then a touchdown pass to Eddie Royal. And they're getting the ball over to Antonio Gates. We didn't show you those plays, but 9 of 12 so far, 115 yards and a touchdown. He's been hurried very little, but he certainly hasn't been hit.
Brown in motion out of the backfield. 6 in the secondary. Second down and 10. Gates in stride, beating Eric Berry and brought down by Daniels. The catch and run takes him down to the Kansas City 38. A 33-yard pickup and a first down.
Oh, it's clear right now as you take a look. Left side of your screen. Berry tried to jam Gates at the line of scrimmage and whiffed, and then yards after the catch by Gates as he runs away from Berry. See right there? Overly aggressive against Gates. Gates, the 10-year veteran right now, is taking Eric Berry to school in man-to-man coverage. They've got to give Berry some help on Gates or this is going to be a wrap.
He's been called for 2 penalties already. He has Berry of 15 yards and 13 yards. Watching Gates, he was just burned for 33 right there. First down and 10. Chargers threatening again at the Kansas City 38. Brown in the backfield. And it goes to Floyd, who is hit by Flowers on a gain of 2. Floyd and Rivers came into the league at the same time to the 36-yard line. And coming up in the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. Scores, news, and highlights from all over the NFL. The Verizon Halftime Report from our CBS studios in New York, 2nd down and 8. Chargers scored the first 3 possessions, punted the last time. Now they're at the Chiefs' 36. Chiefs have had 2 turnovers and 2 punts on their offensive resume this afternoon. 2nd and 8. Matthews drilled by Johnson. Gain of 3 to the 33.
Looks like Matthew drilled Travis Daniels coming through the hole. Watch and look at this. 34 Travis Daniels puts his hands down and he pays for it here. He got some help from Derek Johnson. That way to help out your teammate. I'm sure Daniels is going to thank you later.
Six DBs, Meacham is in, 3rd and 5 for Rivers. Hardwick a block, and that is caught. Gain of 4. Eddie Royal close to a first down. They needed the 28. They appear to be just at the 29.
There are too many balls being caught breaking over the middle of the field. These are 2 easy throws for a quarterback like Philip Rivers. He's going to be short of the first down. They're going to have to try to kick it.
What Norv Turner told us yesterday, when we can protect the quarterback, you know, we can find our rhythm. When we find our rhythm, it affects not just the offense, but the defense as well.
Oh, they're in the rhythm. 12 of 15 for Philip Rivers, 154 yards, getting the ball to everyone in the offense. Oh, they're clicking.
Nick Novak came on the charter yesterday from 47 right down the middle. He lives in the San Diego area. He trains at San Diego State. A quick call, he's on the charter. Back to Kansas City he goes, and it's 20-0 the Chargers. 2 Chiefs turnovers early in the game in their own zone. A couple of field goals by Novak taking the place of the injured Kading. A touchdown pass to Royal of 4 yards from Rivers. Battle has been terrific in a starting role today in the running back position for the Chargers, and it's 20-0. San Diego. Cyrus Gray was deep back. He was that rookie 6th-round pick out of A&M, and he lets it go out of the end zone and to the 20-yard line with a touchback, 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Nobody knows the game like a quarterback, and don't miss Phil Simms, Rich Gannon, Steve Berline, and special guest Dan Marino on NFL Monday Quarterback. It comes your way tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. 1st and 10. Copper's one receiver. Cluster is the other for Matt Castle. Jamal Charles. Oh, and he fumbled again. And once again, Legit jumps on the ball. Another turnover, the 2nd by Charles. And the Chiefs are disintegrating right before us in week 4.
Oh, he's got to just really be broken up over this one. Trying to do maybe a little bit too much, but don't protect the football. And you can see punched out. Number 92 for the San Diego Chargers, Von Martin comes in and punches the ball out from Jamal Charles. San Diego Chargers are clicking offense, defense, special teams, creating their 3rd turnover in the first half.
3 Chiefs turnovers, all in Kansas City territory. 2 turnovers by Charles. That look says it all. Matthews in the backfield. The fullback McLean is in motion. 1st and 10. Rivers right through the hands of Matthews. Now that may have been thrown him back. Could have been a fumble. He chases the ball out of bounds. I'm not sure exactly what they will rule. Incompletion.
I think it was a forward ball. No, they're going to mark it back.
It was a
they're
fumble.
Marking it back. Let's see.
Backward pass. Look at this. It was like Matthews almost wasn't even ready for it.
Matthews got to be ready for that. You know it's a quick scat. Ball's going to come out quick.
What am I going to do with this kid?
He's looking at Matt. He's like, are you kidding me?
He's remained second down and 18. They double team Hali, which opens the door for Gates, who runs in front of Berry and Javon Belcher, and he's out of bounds. The catch and run to the 23, 13-yard pickup. Now it'll be 3rd and 5 for San Diego.
Did they not know that this guy's caught 50 balls or more for 8 straight seasons? Look at that. He turns Berry around, gets to the outside. He's beating Berry in man-to-man coverage consistently in this game. And I think if you're Romeo Crennel as the defensive coordinator, you've got to help him out. In my mind, you've seen enough to give Berry some help, and don't leave him in single coverage and Antonio Gates.
He is one of the bright young defensive players in the entire league, but today, Hall of Famer to be, Gates, is schooling him 3rd down and 5. Ali trying to get around Gaither, and that is intercepted. They were going from each, and it's picked off by Flowers, and finally the Chiefs turn one over themselves. At the 15-yard line, Flowers gets his first pick of the year.
Rivers does the same thing that Matt Castle did earlier in the game. On the far hash, throwing it late to the outside. Look at this. You just don't make that throw. Rivers made a couple of these same kind of errors in the loss last week to the Atlanta Falcons. Thomas Deku made him pay, and now Flowers makes him pay. Just bad decision by Phillip Rivers, and he knows it.
Rivers' 4th pick of the year. Charles, who has fumbled twice, is in motion. The cluster there in the slot, 1st and 10. Short passes, looking for rhythm. That's Bo. Sliding inside, Kason. A catch and run of 13 yards. He's up to the 28 with the Kansas City first down.
Bo is one of the best in the league at working this slant play against Kason. Now watch him make Weddle miss. How does a receiver focus on the ball, making the catch, and then understand how to make that secondary defender coming in whiff on the tackle, creating yards after the catch on that slant? We've seen him break plays like that, Kevin.
He was a little questionable coming into today, too, with the groin. We saw him in practice Friday, but the groin was suffered during the week.
But he practiced well on Friday. I never thought for one second he wouldn't play in this game.
He was on the injured list. Here's a 1st and 10 for Matt Castle. The block by Brandon Albert. Going deep and looking for John Baldwin. The coverage by Jammer at about the 30.
Well, Baldwin started looking back way too soon, Kevin. First, you have to beat the defender. Get the possession. Get on top of the defender before you start looking for the ball. So you got to get on top, and then you can get over maybe another 3 or 4 yards to catch the ball where it was thrown by Matt Castle. Inexperienced receiver making an inexperienced play.
Legion, Thomas, and Vaughn Martin on the defensive line for the Chargers, 2nd down and 10. Jamal Charles finds the gap. Taken down by Weddle, chopped down about the 36. A burst of 8 right there as we take you to New York and James Brown.
Carolina looking good, Shannon.
D'Angelo Williams, JB, this is a different team than we saw 2 weeks ago on a Thursday night. 13 yards, D'Angelo Williams, 14-10, Carolina over the Falcons.
That's the kind of body language you like all over the place. Kevin and Solomon.
Bit of a surprise. Atlanta looked so good last week beating San Diego.
But we've seen in the NFL, there's a lot of parity around the National Football League.
Into the nickel, 3rd and 2, Castle for Bo. All over him that time was Jammer. The flags are on the field. He missed practice Wednesday with a hand injury. Was a full practice participant Thursday and Friday, and he's
Pass interference, number 23 of the defense. First down, spot of the foul.
Jammer picks it up.
And Jammer just was really caught out of position. He's not looking at the ball. He just grabs him right there, pulls him down, doesn't allow him to go up and make the catch. You know, sometimes you just got to get your head around, have a good feel. Once you see the receivers going up, it's okay to get your head around, make a play, and still stay in good relation. To feel the defender where if he catches it, you can make a tackle.
56 is life. Got by 20.
3 in the backfield, 2 tight ends, 1st and 10. Castle. Good catch by Bo. Up high, right in front of Spikes, a 15-yard catch to the 37-yard line of San Diego and a first down.
And Kevin, much in the same way, the Chiefs are having problems covering Antonio Gates. I think the Chargers having difficulties covering Dwayne Bowe. He's working, this is man-to-man coverage now. And see, Case is playing from off. He's trying to close the distance on Bowe, but Bowe's just too big, too strong. He's drawing penalties and he's making plays. You can see 8 plays in the territory of the opponent. And that's what the Chargers have been doing all day.
Fullback Aegis and Winston throwing blocks and cutting back is Charles, and he's got room. The door is open, and here he goes. Touchdown. The Chiefs cash in on the Rivers interception.
Now watch Matt Castle throw a block on this wind back by Charles. We said at the top, the Chargers cannot rest for one play. There is the key block right there. Just enough, glancing blow, and Jamaal Charles does the rest. He's a prolific open field runner, and you cannot relax on him for one play, as evident on the touchdown run right there.
.37-yard touchdown run by Charles, who has fumbled twice today in his own territory. Every scoring play is reviewed, and that seems to be the case now as Bill Levy, who officiated Super Bowl 40, will look under the hood. Did he hit over the pylon? He had Atari Bigby there, a missile zeroing in. We'll find out.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
After seeing the replay, we thought it would. And watch the right foot of Jamaal Charles before he lunges toward the pylon. That's the left foot. Now here is the right foot that was in question. I see green between his foot and the out of bounds marker. That's a good call by the officials.
Ryan Suckup, who had the 6 field goals last week in New Orleans, including the overtime game winner. Oh, it's a bad high snap. Colquitt will throw, and it's picked off. Thomas Gafford is the long snapper, and that snap was high.
Oh yeah, it was a very bad snap. That ball was behind.
That was a good catch by Colquitt.
Yeah, it was a great play. They even spin back around and put the ball down.
Yeah, that's right.
And maybe if Suckup would have continued to move forward, I think he would have made the kick. Colquitt did such a good job of grabbing it and putting the ball down and placing it.
All right, for the first time, Arnold Schwarzenegger speaks out about his scandal. Plus, Laura Logan with America's top commander in Afghanistan. It's the season premiere of 60 Minutes tonight, only on CBS. Well, San Diego's defense, truly up until that time, had played terrific football, magnificent football, and they had cashed in on Kansas City turnovers, and if ever the Chiefs needed a score, we're late here in the first half. That was the time they had to get something on the board, and Charles bailed them out.
And remember, the Chargers had it played well initially when Charles ran to his right. They had the play stopped, but on a broken play, sometimes that's where defenses tend to relax a little bit. And we said at the open that if you relax on one given play, Charles can turn a bad play into a great play for himself, as he did on the 37-yard touchdown run.
Leading rusher coming in, and of course, he had the 200-plus yard performance last week, including a 91-yard touchdown run for the Chiefs down in New Orleans. And the subsequent kickoff here by Kansas City. Richard Goodman. Edgar Jones stuck him, the ex-Baltimore Raven who played at Southeast Missouri, makes the stop, 20-yard return.
With Jamaal Charles, the highest yards per rush for anyone with a minimum of 50 rushing attempts. And look at that, even greater than that of Jim Brown and Bo Jackson. That's incredible. You get your name listed next to the likes of Bo Jackson, Jim Brown, well, you're putting in a lot. And Jamaal Charles says, up until that 91-yard touchdown run 1 week ago, Kevin, he wasn't sure how much he had returned and come back from that knee surgery 1 year ago.
Poe is playing the nose tackle here for Kansas City. 1st and 10 for Phillip Rivers. Looking for Floyd. He was shoved on the play. That will be a violation on Stanford Routt, the ex-Oakland Raider. A little shove right there in the secondary. Routt had an interception of Drew Brees last week in New Orleans.
Pass interference, number 26 defense. 1st down, spotted a foul.
And Malcolm Floyd signing a contract extension this past week in San Diego. Led the league last year in yards per reception. And a look at some of the numbers in our first half so far, a comparison of the quarterbacks.
Well, we said they had to catch him if they can. And we talked about the other receivers outside of Antonio Gates. Teams have been double teaming Antonio Gates, and we thought that Floyd, Meacham, and Royal had to have big games today.
Battle in the backfield. It is a 1st and 10 for San Diego. Clary, nice block. Here comes the big man out of Washington State. Pitoa Tua, his first sack coming through. He is a load on that defensive line with Dorsey out. He's playing.
Now this is more of a cover sack. Now take a look at this one. Rivers getting happy feet. We know he's not mobile. He's not going to take off and run. But the longer he had to hold it, better chances that someone from that defensive line was going to get to Phillip Rivers as he takes his first sack of the day. Clary's wondering why he's being taken out of the game.
Rivers is over there meeting with the coach. The new right tackle is Mike Harris. And why he is in and Clary is out.
Yeah, Clary doesn't like the fact that he was taken out. He was like, look, I had my guy blocked. How long do you want me to hold on to him? Clary's not happy at all.
Battle in the backfield. 2nd down and 16. That's McMichael in motion. Jackie Battle stood up by Belcher and brought down and a gain of 2 up to the 26-yard line. Now here comes Clary back in the game.
And they pulled the tackle. That's why they pulled Clary out. Mike Harris was pulling on the play, but Kevin, he fell down. He didn't get up in the hole to secure the block. And so Clary comes back in. They'd rather pull with Harris than with Clary. Of course, fresher legs for the rookie Mike Harris.
Ether is playing the left tackle today, starting. You know, he signed that big offseason contract with the Chargers after playing just 5 games last year, but they were sold. A lot of defensive backs back there for Kansas City. 3rd and 14. They need the 40. Rivers, and he's got his receiver Royal, and a nice stick right there by Javier Arenas, shy of the 1st down. The ball to the 34, a pickup of 7. They needed 14. They got a punt.
Kansas City doing a better job of keeping all receivers in front of them that time as Javier Arenas comes up and makes the tackle on a very elusive Eddie Roy.
Cypress to Javier Arenas out of Alabama. He was a 2nd-round pick a couple years ago. Beauty. Wow. But does it stay in? Into the end zone, a touchback, and Cypress can't keep it in, but that was a 66-yard punt. Chiefs will have it at the 20, 1st down and 10. Late here on the first half, and Saturday, CBS Sports brings you a big college doubleheader. First, Navy takes on Air Force, then it's an SEC showdown as 3rd-ranked LSU heads to the Swamp to face number 11 Florida. That matchup begins with college football today, right here. Next Saturday, 3 Eastern, 2 Central on CBS. Charles has had a 37-yard touchdown run the last time. By the way, that drive was set up, that last scoring drive of the Chiefs, catch and runs of 13 and 15 yards by Bo. Gray is the running back to the bottom of your screen. It's 1st and 10, and a flag, and maybe Moeaki jumped.
False start, number 81 offense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Another miscue for the Kansas City Chiefs, particularly on the offense. Finding it very tough to get some rhythm today. They've already turned it over 3 times in the ball game today, Kevin. Started off with a first quarter interception on that first possession. Matt Castle getting picked off on that play. And then how about the fumble by Jamal Charles in the first quarter, then another one here in the second quarter, providing excellent field position for the San Diego Chargers, who have turned those turnovers into 10 points today.
6 penalties by the Chiefs today, 1st and 15. Rookie Gray will get this pass, or will he? He heard the steps that time of Donald Butler. An emerging player at that linebacker position. Everybody talking about him. Incomplete, 2nd down and 15.
Oh, Butler, look how quickly he closes in on this one. If they throw it to you, you better catch it, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. Butler closes in with great leverage and great contact. He is their leading tackler. He's been very active in all 4 games this season.
Now, the other player they're talking about in that linebacking core is Melvin Ingram, the first-round pick out of South Carolina. Terrific young pass rusher. He has just come in. Extra defensive back is there too. 2nd down and 15 with thrown in the backfield. And that is intercepted and picked off by Butler on the ricochet off the tight end at Moiaki. And he is in for the touchdown. Another good defensive play for San Diego. Another interception for Matt Castle.
And dare I say, the Butler did it. Look at Castle's throw. Now it's going to be thrown on that back shoulder. And so people are going to blame Moiaki for not making the catch. That's completely on the quarterback, Matt Castle. This ball's thrown on the back shoulder, so it's going to be tipped, and Butler picks it off. If you're Matt Castle, ball placement and accuracy throwing the football is paramount. Because you put it on the back shoulder, you put the ball in harm's way for your 2nd interception of the game. Wow.
Wow is right. Man. San Diego has played terrifically today. The extra point is up by Novak, 27-6. The Chargers. We were wondering how they would respond in the wake of last week's loss to San Diego. They knew they played horribly. They have come out today and played exceptionally well.
And Norv Turner talked about it. He says, people, we're 2-1 and you think the sky is falling in San Diego. He said, don't they know this is not the 14-2 team? He said, we've overachieved the last couple of years, but now we're ready to become a new team. We're searching for a new identity with players like Donald Butler and other players on this offensive football team. He believes that they're very close to hitting their stride and becoming a really good team and can contend for a division title.
There's a look at game 3. He's certainly providing more time now. Starting today at that left tackle. When he came in last year, played the final 5 games, they went 4-1. And Rivers and the pressure on him was not as big an issue. So given a little time, Rivers, who came in, as we mentioned before, under a lot of duress, half the time he dropped back to throw in the first handful of games, has come back and looked sharp today, and the defense certainly playing magnificently.
Look at the miscues by the Kansas City Chiefs football team today. A couple of interceptions, 3 fumbles. They've lost 2 of them. Allowed the quarterback to be sacked. They've now given up 17 points off those 4 turnovers so far in the game, and they've had some penalties today. It's just a total team effort here in the first half.
Cyrus Gray is in the back of the end zone, and he'll leave it there for the Kansas City Chiefs. We have 4 turnovers, all in their own territory. And Butler with the interception touchdown moments ago. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. Scores, news, highlights. A busy 4th weekend in the NFL. All coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And some boos for Matt Castle as he took the field.
Set by 20.
1st down and 10. Castle, they're coming up the middle. He got away from Vaughn. He looks for Bo. A flag is thrown. They had Jammer and Atari Bigby right there at about the 32-yard line. 2 flags in the backfield, and then 1 here on the side. 3 all told on the field.
Right tackle Eric Winston is getting destroyed, Kevin.
A little touch of a pass that the receiver had been out of bounds, number 82. That penalty is declined. Holding, number 74 offense. That penalty will be accepted, 10 yards. Repeat 1st down.
Yeah. Vaughn Martin that time was providing pressure. And Jarrett Johnson is on that side too, holding the edge as the outside backer.
Yeah, Winston struggled, and then so far the entire offense has struggled. You see the first 7 possessions of the game. You've had 4 turnovers. Of course, the interception, the fumble, they punted a couple of times. Then They did score the one touchdown when Jamal Charles were able to break loose for 37 yards and score the touchdown. Those other 6 possessions, absolutely nothing. I'm only punting 2 of them.
It is 1st and 20. Tackle was made right there by Butler. Charles finding no room.
Well, you're going to get a chance to know this Donald Butler, former 3rd-round pick from University of Washington. Excellent player. He has blossomed this year. We already told you he's the leading tackler. And then he responds and gets the pick 6 off Matt Castle.
Well, they were down by 18 last week. Now they're down by 21. Last week was historic in the comeback, and they make it 2 in a row. 2-minute warning. Opportunistic San Diego controlling it with their defense, forcing turnovers on top, 27-6, cashing in. Last one was a defensive score. Interception by Butler returned for the touchdown. 2nd down and 20. We're at the 2-minute warning. The Chiefs have all 3 timeouts. And they go deep, and that was almost picked off. It sailed over the head of Bo. Flags all over the field. Again.
Pass interference. Number 20 defense. 1st down, spot of the foul.
Antoine Cason. Well, last week at New Orleans, the Chiefs trailed by as many as 18. Houston had the safety. Cut it to 3 with 5.5. Suckup had a field goal, 3 seconds left in regulation, then knocked in a 31-yarder in overtime, and the Chiefs won it 27-24. 1st and 10 for Castle here. Out of congestion, there's Bo. Grabbed by Bigby. One-time player for the Green Bay Packers in Super Bowl 45. He was a player. 26-yard catch and run up to the 49 of San Diego.
So the Chiefs came back from an 18-point deficit, the largest in team history 1 week ago. If they come back in this game, now down by 21, they would top what they did last week in New Orleans.
Chargers with 6 in the secondary. 1st and 10 for Matt Castle. Underneath. Drone. Runs out of bounds. Forced out of bounds by Marcus Gilchrist. The catch and run for 9. Clock is stopped. Tees to the 39. The Chiefs have 3 timeouts.
So Castle's getting something going there. They are in the 2-minute offense. Dropping it off to Drones. He gets out of bounds. He's just shy of that 1st down marker. But if you're Castle, you got to get something going here before you head in at the half to hang your hat on.
2nd down and 1. Drone, I think I saw a face mask there, but no yellow on the field. Gain of 3. Timeout Kansas City. He works his way to the 37. Ingram was there with the stop. Chiefs 2 timeouts left.
Let's take a look at it. Did he grab face mask or did he grab the shoulder? They're right there. Looks like the shoulder and the arm.
Butler had a good stop on the play.
As you can see, the Chiefs came in with the league's #1 ranked offense today. Only 129 yards in the 1st half after averaging over 400 yards total offense per game. What did Romeo Crennel tell us? He said, those stats don't mean a thing if you don't win.
They've got Thomas and Legion on the defensive line for San Diego. 5 in the secondary. 1st and 10 Kansas City at the 37 of the Chargers. Drone with the block, picking up Bigby. But Bigby still pressured the quarterback, and away it goes.
I'm going to show you what happened because Bigby, he had Castle around the ankles. Castle couldn't move.
Illegal contact. Number 23 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Britton Jammer.
Well, it didn't matter, Jammer. You didn't need to hold him. Castle couldn't move, couldn't do anything because his feet were just locked in by Atari Bigby. You're talking about getting pressure on the quarterback, and here's Jammer. Eyes in the backfield, trying to play with his hands and not with his feet in coverage.
Gray is at the side of the quarterback. Castle 1st and 10 from the 32 of San Diego. Underneath, Dwayne Bowe. Ingram got a hand on him. 10-yard catch, close to a first down.
There was pressure on Castle on that time, but he was able to get it away before Demario Williams could come in and get the sack. Bo has been ever present making plays. There you see the hit on Castle, who's able to get it away before Williams laid the lick on him.
San Diego just burned their final timeouts. They're out of timeouts. There is Dwayne Bowe, 5 catches, 69 yards. Held out most of camp, didn't like the contract offer, reported just before the beginning of the season. And has come in, you know, you and I were watching him as a rookie and how he has progressed. I remember Tony Gonzalez saying that when he was still here in Kansas City, he tried to take Bo under his wing and teach him some of the attention to detail aspects.
Work ethic.
Yeah.
We call it work ethic.
You can see in his game, he's become one of the premier receivers now in the league. You can see in his game where some of that is taking hold.
He was an inconsistent catcher. He would catch the ball with his body, not with his hands. That's gone. He's become a prolific pass catcher. He's become a much better route runner, and then creating yards after the catch. And I can't talk enough about how fearless he is going into the teeth of the defense on slants and post patterns and still making plays.
San Diego has 5 in the secondary. It is a first down from the 22 of San Diego for the Chiefs. Winston with the block through the hands of McCluster, and that is bobbled and intercepted. It's Cason, and he's got some blockers ahead. He's hit by Bowe. He gets a block from Weddle. And he works his way to there's a flag. He works his way to the 44. 5 turnovers by the Chiefs. 32-yard return off the fingertips of McCluster, picked up by Antoine Cason, which would be his 2nd pick of the year. The defense has been everywhere for the Chargers. Everywhere.
During the return, personal foul, blindside block. Number 56 of the intercepting team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, it was Williams who hit on Drone, but watch, you see it right there. Drone's a defenseless player, and see this hit right here to the head? He's a defenseless player, and if you're Demario Williams, you can't make that hit.
I think it was Butler that made the hit.
Was it Butler?
I think it was. We'll have to see it again.
Number 58. But there's the interception by Cason. Cason just really, it was a tip ball off the hands of McCluster, who's got to make that catch. You're right, it was Butler, 56, yeah.
Good interception by Cason. They're going to go to a knee, San Diego will, and finish out the remaining 33 seconds of the first half. Chargers have played excellent football. The Chiefs have turned it over 5 times, 4 in their own zone. Castle has had a nightmare first half, and Rivers and his Chargers in first place coming into today look like they are going to stay there. Norv Turner, a little frisky yesterday in our interview with him. Right now with the commanding 27-6 halftime lead over the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll take you to New York. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. Opportunistic San Diego. A lot of mistakes by the Chiefs. That score says it all.
Well, Phillip Rivers has come out, and he's really been on fire. He's got a lot of help from his defense, who's gone out and forced 5 first-half turnovers. They've turned it into 17 points on the back end. Full team effort for the San Diego Chargers.
Let's take a look at one of the highlights of that first half, and there were some that were really terrific as the DirecTV family brings us the ultimate picture cam. First of all, it was a nice pickoff right there of Castle by Donald Butler on a pass intended for Moeaki.
Returned it for a touchdown, too. And so Butler's made plays on defense. It's 3 interceptions in the first half by Matt Castle. 2 first-half fumbles by Jamal Charles. It's been all San Diego. Phillip Rivers, we talked about the fact that he's played really well. He did throw an interception in the first half, but the 17 points for the San Diego Chargers off those 5 turnovers, that's been a huge difference in the ball game.
We had a good conversation with Phillip Rivers yesterday. Says he's just blessed with all kinds of good talent around him, a lot of options, maybe the most, in fact, he says, since he's been a Charger quarterback. Chiefs will get it to begin the second half. Novak and the running back Cyrus Gray will leave it in the end zone. A deep kick, and here comes Matt Castle. As Solomon said, all those points on turnovers. First down and 10 with Charles in the backfield. And Jamal. And hit on the play. Butler among a couple in there. No gain on the play.
Well, Matt Castle has really struggled in this game right from the very first possession. There's a INT to Eric Weddle on his first possession of the game. Then he's been blown up by Sean Phillips and company. Then another interception right off the hands of Dexter McCluster. Had another go off the back shoulder of Tony Moyaki. And so his 3 interceptions, as we told you in the first half, has really cost his team. 5 turnovers in total by the Chiefs in that first half of this game.
Second down and 10 for Matt Castle. Looking for the rookie fullback Eachus, who's covered by Jared Johnson. That pass was not on the money.
Well, Castle told us that he worked this offseason with Tom House as a pitching coach at USC during the offseason. Same coach that Tom Brady works with, Carson Palmer of the Oakland Raiders, Alex Smith, the quarterback with the San Francisco 49ers. They all work on mechanics, the feet, the leg, the hips, the shoulders, everything needs to be in sync. Well, right now it's totally out of sync for Matt Castle.
Drone in the backfield. Gilchrist is the extra defensive back. Third down and 10. Here they come. Ingram can't get it. Castle, who looks for Preston, who is covered by Jammer. The catch, they say, is made at the 32, and that is good for a first down pickup of 12.
Oh, Castle had to just throw it. You got to give your wide receiver a chance. It's a third down play. If you run out of bounds with it, loss of yards. But look, he puts it over there. Preston makes a tough catch for a first down against Quentin Jammer. There's just no room to place that ball. I don't know how he held on to it, but he made a third down play, converting it into a first down.
Charles back in there. First down and 10 for the Chiefs. First, second half possession. And that is caught by John Baldwin, the first round pick a year ago out of Pitt. Slicing his way for 25, works it to the 43 of San Diego.
Well, you just get the sense that if the protection can hold up from Castle, that the wide receivers, whether it's Dwayne Bowe, whether it's Baldwin or Preston, they can make plays against these corners for the San Diego Chargers. Kaysen tried to undercut that one, totally took himself out of the play. And by the way, good throw from Matt Castle while on the move.
25-yard pickup through the air to the 43. It's first down and 10. Charles getting by Jared Johnson. Pushed out of bounds by Buck. And he works his way to the 36 on a gain on the edge of 6.
Good check on the run play because Weddle was coming up. Look, Weddle's coming here, but then they run it the opposite way, away from the safety coming down into the box. So it's a good check, good run. Jamal Charles picking up a block by Preston on the end. Got to wonder if Charles was hit while he was out of bounds on that play.
You wonder sometimes how a team with a big sizable lead at halftime comes out to play. And it's just natural for them to exhale a little bit.
Well, it starts with the first possession of the second half for the team that's down. And that's what we're seeing with the Chiefs. They're going right down the football field.
Charles on a 2nd and 3 picks up 4. Another first down. Solomon down to the 32.
If you're Norv Turner, you know what this team did against the New Orleans Saints 1 week ago. You've got to be talking to your defense, and defensive coordinator Coach Pagano says, hey, we got to get them stopped on first down. And that's what Norv talked to us about. Let's not wait till third down to make a play. Let's get them stopped on first and second so we can create third and long and get off the field.
2 tight ends. Moyaki atop the screen, first and 10. Bray in the backfield, who picks up Butler kind of. And then down he goes, sacked on the play. Butler is the one to kind of trigger it. It's the second sack by the Chargers, a loss of 7.
Yeah, Gray in the backfield. Watch Butler. You said kind of? You were being kind. Because he tried to block him, you're right, but just very futile in the attempt to keep Butler off the quarterback, Matt Castle.
Larry English is the one to jump on him in there. The thing is, that's a rookie, you know, and we know the pass protections for a rookie is one of the last things that they really grasp.
Well, you have, in order to run the ball, you got to protect the quarterback first.
5 defensive backs, 2nd down and 17 for Castle, and Charles back there with him. McCluster grabbed by Marcus Gilchrist, and then they twirl around the gain to about the 37, a pickup of 3.
Chiefs just trying to find some rhythm, some consistency. I think in order to have that consistency, like what we're seeing Phillip Rivers have on offense, it starts up front with your offensive line. The right tackle, Eric Winston, has not played well for Romeo Crennel's offense today. Consistently allowing defenders to get to the quarterback, where Castle's been hit, hurried, and harassed.
6 defensive back is Corey Lynch, 3rd and 15. The Chiefs need the 22. Moriaki turning late. Flag is down. Butler may have been caught defending the Kansas City tight end.
Well, that's where the flag went, towards Butler, working against Moriaki, the tight end.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact. Number 56 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And that was on a 3rd and 15.
See, now watch at the top of the route. See, when you're using your hands, he's already 5 yards down the field, and you're making contact. The coverage has to begin at the initial phase of the route, and then you have to move your feet beyond that 5-yard point. You can't get into the hand fighting game with an offensive receiver when the quarterback's trying to throw him the ball.
So the Chiefs on this drive, beginning back at their 20, and a 12-yard pass to Breston, a 25-yard pass to Baldwin, a penalty right there. Charger 32 here, 1st down and 10. In the nickel. Charles. Belted by Butler. Held on the play after a gain of 2.
As the crowd here at Arrowhead Stadium sits in silence, which is rare. Normally you get a lot of noise out of this crowd. The Chiefs are putting together a drive, 9-play drive, 50 yards so far. They're mixing in the run and the pass as the fans come back from getting their halftime hot dog. They see the offense is on the move.
Man, you're covering it all, aren't you? You're talking to the fans. And 2nd down and 8, 10th play of the drive. Oh, here they come. But he gets it off to Drone, who breaks a tackle on the play and has a Lilja lead block, and he works his way down to about the 11 of San Diego. A catch and run of 18 yards. Williams with the stop. Kansas City 1st down.
Watch how many white jerseys poured to the backfield. So many are close to Castle that when Drone catches it, there's no one at the 2nd level wearing a Chargers jersey. They're all at the 3rd level, close to the goal line. But look at the floodgates open on Matt Castle. He barely gets it to Drone, but once Drone catches it, oh, he's going to run a long way. Chargers played it almost too good.
1st down and 10. Winston with the block, batted down inside by Ingram. A linebacker and a rookie out of South Carolina consensus 1st team All-America in that passing lane, knocking it away. 2nd down and 10.
You have Ingram, you have English, you've got Butler, you got Takeo Spikes, Rivers, or I should say Sean Phillips. You got so many playmakers. Corey Legent, who we've talked about so far in this game. They have quietly rebuilt this roster in San Diego, and that's why Norv Turner believes that they're very close to being the team they ultimately want to become.
2nd down and 10. Drone with a tackle by Ingram and a loss of 2. He's back to the 13-yard line.
Well, John Pagano's got the defense playing. They're stiffening up. You have to wonder in the early phase of this possession, did the defense come out looking at the lead they have at halftime? They came out a little bit relaxed. There you see the defense coordinator, John Pagano, working a 3-4 scheme here with the San Diego Chargers.
He takes the place of the fired Greg Minuski.
Ranking 9th in total defense.
It's 3rd and 11. Charles is in. Bo is on the move. 5 in the secondary for San Diego. Here comes Phillips. There goes Castle. Here comes Charles. To the pylon. Touchdown.
Got to tell you, Kevin, it started with Winston working against Sean Phillips first, keeping the backside of the quarterback clean. And then as Charles comes across the formation, and he's just going to outrun the entire defense. Now watch the speed when he turns up. Wow. He's like a wisp. Not going to catch him before he hits that pylon. Look at this. He knows how to hit that pylon. It's the second time today we kind of have to go to the replay to see did he get it there? Did he go out of bounds? He's so fast, so quick.
His second touchdown run today, the first one for 37. That was a catch and run of 13, getting it over. The extra point is good. The Chiefs have closed the gap. A 13-play, 80-yard drive brings us into the second half. Charles' second touchdown. Chargers on top, 27-13. Chiefs have had touchdown drives today of 80 and 85 yards. A 13-yard catch and run by Jamaal Charles. Second touchdown today. And the Chiefs have crept a little closer to the San Diego Chargers, who have cashed in on 5 Kansas City turnovers. And the ensuing kickoff with Goodman letting it ricochet off his palms and out of bounds. So Philip Rivers and his offense will get the ball for the first time in the second half with a lead and 8:40 to play in the third. Little trip up the Broadway Bridge that used to take you from the downtown airport where TWA once held their headquarters. Now merged with American Airlines, and the airport is way up north. First down and 10 from the 20. McMichael had a block. Here goes the scrambling Rivers. He's chased by Johnson and hits the deck at about the line of scrimmage. We'll give him a gain of 1 on the play.
Kevin, let's go back and take a look at the touchdown to Jamaal Charles. As he comes out of the backfield, he's going to come across the formation, but it takes a little bit of time. We're going to show you also, watch the right tackle, Eric Winston, at the bottom against Phillips. See, that's the great protection that I talked about, because it takes time for Charles to come across the formation. Then once he makes the catch, look, he turns up. He's going to hit the pylon for a nice touchdown. So well orchestrated between the offensive line, protection provided by Castle, and the catch and run by Charles.
Meacham is in, 2nd and 9. Jackie Battle held by Berry. Eric Berry coming through, stopping him at the line. No gain on the play. 3rd down and 9.
Kevin, football is so much about momentum. The Kansas City Chiefs come out, they get the possession, they go down, and they score a touchdown. And now on 3rd down, if you're the defense, you need to be able to make a play here on 3rd and long against this Philip Rivers-led offense. Force the punt, create a turnover, put Matt Castle on a short field, and continue the momentum that you've gained here in the second half.
Chiefs defensively come out with 6 in the secondary, 3rd and 9. Royal. He threw a block on Ali. That's an incomplete pass to Eddie Royal. They got a punt. 4th down.
And the fans are into the ball game now.
Yeah, they are now.
Needed a big play on 3rd down. Javier Arenas working on the right side of your screen. Very good coverage on Antonio Gates as Javier Arenas knifes in to get the ball out of the hands of Eddie Royal. Now you bring this crowd alive here at Arrowhead Stadium. It really makes things loud for Philip Rivers and that offensive line in their protection schemes.
Last time Cyphers punted, it was a 66-yarder. No punt now to Arenas. With time. Looking up into the sun. Number 20. He was grabbed from behind by receiver Michael Spurlock. A 14-yard return, a 59-yard punt. Chiefs will get it for a second time. Charles has 2 touchdowns and 2 turnovers today. Kansas City's defense has taken hold here a bit. Forcing a couple 3 and outs, an interception, and halftime. Here goes Charles on 1st and 10, and he is belted. Weddle had a hand on him, as did Legit. That's a gain of 3. He's up to the 37. To get the latest news, analysis, and predictions from Jason Lockenfora, Pat Kerwin, and other CBS Sports experts. Watch Pro Football 360 live weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern or on demand at cbssports.com/profootball360. 2nd down and 7.
20.
2 tight ends for Castle. Over the leaping Jared Johnson, looking for Bo, covered by Jammer and Bigby. Incomplete, 3rd and 7.
Well, Matt Castle has gotten it going more than anything. Jamal Charles has gotten it going after a difficult start to this ball game. A fumble in the first quarter, another fumble in the second quarter, but then a nice 37-yard run for a touchdown. He then has a touchdown reception here in the third quarter of this game for a touchdown. 2 early fumbles, overcoming the adversity. Jamal Charles has got back on his horse and gotten the ball in the end zone twice now.
Thrown in the backfield, 5 in the secondary, 3rd and 7. Albert with the block, that is incomplete with the coverage by Kason on Bo. At the 45, 3 and out for the Chiefs.
Ill-conceived play, because even if Bo had caught the ball on this play, he's not playing the sticks. He's not beyond the first down marker. And that's what Cason's doing. He's playing the first down marker. You know, in defense, we talk about playing the sticks. You know, that's where the receiver is going to go. Well, that's where Cason had set up, ready for Bo to turn and make the catch, and he broke on it perfectly.
Colquitt to Eddie Royal. He joined San Diego as an unrestricted free agent from Denver. Well, Brown was down there. The ball was loose. It was quickly brought back in by the San Diego Chargers and Darrell Stuckey, number 25, who's from Kansas City. Chargers ball when we come back, 6:05 in the third. Negro Baseball Museum here in Kansas City. Buck O'Neil, Satchel Paige, the Kansas City Monarchs, some of the great history of baseball in this town. 1st and 10. Jackie Battle after the Chiefs just punted the ball and stopped right down there. Let's see, Johnson getting off the pile. Belcher, gain of 3 on the play. He's up to about the 16. And tonight, see what makes The Amazing Race the most celebrated reality show ever. Don't miss the season premiere of the Emmy-winning, I guess it doesn't, Emmy-winning Amazing Race. Tonight, after 60 minutes. CBS, easy for you to say. 2nd down and 7. Meacham at the bottom of your screen wide. Big time sack. Pitoa Tua. 2nd sack for the Chiefs today. Loss of 4 and back to the 12.
Pitoa Tua, he is huge. 6'8", 315, and goes full body land on top of Phillip Rivers. He used Rivers to break his fall. Wow. His defense has been very tough. They're ready to pitch yet another 3 and out. Their last 3 possessions for the Chargers, interception by this Kansas City Chiefs defense, 3 and out, 3 and out. Let's see if they can get another.
6 defensive backs for the Chiefs. 3rd and 11 for Rivers. Cleary at block, and here they come. Ali at the 1, they bring him down, loss of 11. They'll mark him at the 1, the Chiefs hold San Diego.
Well, the H-boys, Tamba Hali, Justin Houston, the bookends. He knifes in underneath. He's able to get there. And there's Justin Houston, number 50, coming in from the other side. He walks Clary back to the quarterback. It's just a meeting at the quarterback, Phillip Rivers. He's forced to eat it at the 1-yard line.
Cyphers does not have the full length to punt the ball. Short snap, because he had little room with which to work, and Javier Arenas will get the hanging punt at the 43. Flag and flying. Mike Wentz, who's the long snapper, was the one to chase him down on the side, and the flag is down at the 49 across the way. Looks like it's on the Chiefs.
Well, the defense has really provided a spark for the Kansas City Chiefs here in the second half, Kevin.
Which would wipe out, indeed, which would wipe out a 27-yard return.
During the return, holding, number 31 of the receiving team.
Tyson Hartman.
Penalty, 1st down, timeout.
Hartman is a rookie free agent. Yep, the defense, as Solomon just said, they are tightening their screws and now stuffing the San Diego offense. Timeout, 4:06 in the third. Any explanation why San Diego's offense is staggering here just a bit?
The failure to protect the quarterback, Phillip Rivers, here in the second half has seen this offense ground to a halt, and Phillip Rivers looks bewildered right now.
Well, they just punted 1st down and 10 for the Chiefs at their own 38-yard line. Ryan Lilja playing center today for the first time in his 100th game. Here is a Moiaki catch and run. Butler with the stop. Gain of 4 to the 42.
And now the Kansas City Chiefs offense. You get a score here. let alone a touchdown. Not only are you back in this game, the crowd's back in it. Crowd noise and all those things, and the way that the defense has turned up the intensity works against the San Diego Chargers.
Thomas Martin leads it on the defensive line. Base D, second down and 6. And thrown. He was stopped in there by Cam Thomas, who's out of North Carolina, 5th-round pick a couple years ago. It's a gain of 3, and they'll spot him at the 44.
This Chargers defense is just chock full of athletes, particularly in their front 7. I'm loving what I'm seeing from this front 7. Clogging all the holes in terms of the running lanes. And we did see, of course, Jamal Charles break one off on a broken play for 37 yards. But for the most part, this Chargers defense has done a really good job defending the running game of the Chiefs.
Gilchrist, the extra defensive back, 3rd and a long 3. Oh, they got him. Bo was tailed by Kason. Weddle was in the vicinity. That pass overthrown. Incomplete. 4th and 3. They got a punt.
Big 3rd down play if you're Castle. Good protection. Get the ball to your open receiver. That's all you have to do. You cannot miss and overshoot Bo on that play. If anything, you allow him to come back and out-jump Kason for the play. You're probably going to get a penalty flag if you underthrow that ball.
Spurlock is back to get this. The former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Colquitt with the punt. 2nd consecutive 3 and out. This is very high. And wiping it away with a good Kansas City bounce to about the 12. It will roll. 42-yard punt. Here comes Rivers, and here comes San Diego, and Wednesday on Showtime. JB, Phil Simms, Chris Collinsworth break down America's Sunday pastime as only they can. It's Inside the NFL Wednesday in primetime on Showtime. We talked at the top of the broadcast about the new left tackle Gaither. They had started a rookie free agent Harris out of UCLA, played well first game, struggled the next 2. There was a lot of pressure seeping in on that left side. Gaither comes in today, and for the first half of the game, Gaither in that line doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's easy, though, when the defensive linemen for the Chiefs are coming straight on. But what Romeo Crennel has begun to do is stunt and run some twist up front on defense, and they've sacked Phillip Rivers on consecutive plays.
Battle in the backfield, 1st and 10. Derek Johnson wrapping his arms around the waist of the running back, former teammate here in Kansas City, to the 16-yard line and a gain of 2.
Yeah, what Romeo Crennel does on defense, it's not real complicated. Even Phillip Rivers told us that. He said they're just very effective. They play a lot of press man-to-man coverage. They send the pressures up front. He said, but everything is about their execution, and that's what you're seeing increase here in the second half.
Chargers in the second half minus 9 yards total so far. 2nd down and 7. Soft pass battle. Hit by Houston to the 22, 6-yard pickup, and a couple more to go for a first down.
Yeah, Kevin, and where we saw the Chiefs playing more man-to-man, this is just a base cover 2 right now. They're dropping in zone and reacting to everything in front as you see Houston come up to make the tackle. But remember, we saw Barry matched up man-to-man a lot in the first half against Gates. Gates was beating him. The receivers are winning on the outside. They're going more to a cover 2 look. Now here on 3rd and 1. You tend to want to crowd the box and go single high, man-to-man on the outside.
Gaither, the left tackle, has moved to the right tackle here. 3rd and 1. McLean corkscrewing in. Looks like he didn't get it. Belcher may have had the first whack on him. And he gets perhaps to the line of scrimmage. 3rd consecutive 3 and out for San Diego.
Oh, this has got to be disappointing. Very disappointing. And look at that. If you can't pick up 1 yard, or you're going to struggle. But the Chiefs defense is just doing a well of a job getting off the field.
Right here in the 3rd, Cypress will punt. Mentioned before, 3rd consecutive 3 and out. Javier Arenas is inside the 25 for the Chiefs. Good punt from the 17. Weddle can't get him. The long snapper, Wink can't get him. Finally, Ingram does. An 18-yard elusive return for Arenas on a 61-yard punt. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS has doubleheader action. First, the Browns battle the defending Super Bowl champion Giants. Ravens will challenge the Chiefs. Peyton Manning leads the Broncos against Tom Brady and the Patriots. A lot of you will see that Buffalo-San Francisco game. Check local listings beginning with JP, Dan, Coach Shannon, and Boomer on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. Chiefs, last two possessions, 3 and out. Here they come again now from the 35 with the 1st and 10, late in the 3rd.
Alert! Omaha!
Charles, Jarrett Johnson can't get him. Then a gain of about 10 with Atari Bigby wrestling him down. A gain of about 10 right there for Jamal Charles. That'll take us to the end of the 3rd. Chiefs coming back. Their defense has played much better here in the 2nd half. Now it's up to Castle and the offense to do their part. Watching CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. Chargers 3 consecutive 3 and outs. The Chiefs have punted the last 2 times they had it. That came on the heels of a 13-yard catch and run by Charles to make it 27-13. A look for North.
North Turner. I rather enjoyed our conversation with North Turner.
But he was feisty, I thought.
You know, but he came out, he dealt with something. You know, there's these criticisms that he's soft. He didn't like that.
Charles on 1st and 10. Wrapped up, it looks like, by Reyes. And also hit on the play by English. No gain on the play.
Yeah, North Turner, you know, all the criticisms that he has a soft football team. He seemed rather annoyed by that, Kevin. And, you know, all the offenses that he put up with 1,000-yard backs of Emmitt Smith, Stephen Davis, LaDainian Tomlinson, I think would suggest that he's always had a real strong running game to go with a good passing game. And you know, in football, it's a proving ground for whether or not you're tough or not. You can't really talk about it. You just got to go out and win ball games, and he knows that all too well.
5 defensive backs on this 2nd down and 10. Castle, drone, big-time hit. Across the way, Redwell, jammer, loss of 3, back to the 42.
And the way that I've watched this Chargers defense play today, they're anything but soft. We've seen Butler make plays. We've seen Corey Liuget make plays. Watch this form tackle by Quentin Jammer. That's how you do it in the open field.
Now they bring in a 6th defensive back. Does that San Diego D, Corey Lynch. He's their dime guy, and Roan remains in the backfield. 3rd and 13. The Chiefs need the 45 of the Chargers.
Like 20. What the hell?
Oh, and he fumbled the ball at the 49. The Chiefs have turned it over 5 times. You see the pile?
I think we're going to make it 6. It looks like Charger pounced on that ball unless it changes hands at the bottom of the pot.
Drone is basically a rookie on the practice squad last year after being undrafted out of North Carolina, seeing more time today. Bigby comes up with it, his run the other way just to show that he had the ball. Drone fumbles. And it goes 6 turnovers for the Chiefs.
Well, they're just trying to run and get something on this play. Watch this hit right there by Jammer. Now, that's not soft. I can tell you that right now. This football team is laying licks on people. That's why they've now forced their 6th turnover of the game.
And 5 in their own territory.
Wow.
Three interceptions thrown on deflected passes for the most part by Castle. 2 turnovers on fumbles by Charles. 1 fumble right there by Drone. And here from the 49 of timeout taken by Rivers. He looked at the play clock, which is at 1. And a flag was thrown, I think a flag was thrown before they were able to call the timeout. As Phillip is over there yelling.
Timeout was called before the expiration of the play clock. First timeout, San Diego.
All right, they got 2 remaining. They lead, and they'll have the ball when we come back. At CBS, our prayers, thoughts, concerns to his family. 54 years old. 1st down and 10. Ryan Matthews will take it up and find 6 yards. The Kansas City Chiefs have turned the ball over 6 times today. That is the most by any team this season, in this young season in the NFL.
3 fumbles, 3 interceptions by Matt Castle, some tipped off the hands of receivers. Charles, even though he scored 2 touchdowns, he's put it on the ground, turned it over twice. Drones fumbled another. And as good as the defense has played at times today, and particularly here in the second half, the offense has been like a double agent.
Matthews on 2nd down and 4. Tried to spin away from Belcher and couldn't. Picks up 4, and they'll put him Solomon at the 39.
Yeah, you're all working together to try to get a win. Then you have guys, an interception here, a fumble there, a bad penalty here, and it just works against some of the best efforts that we're seeing from some of the guys on the team. And they've been known to bounce back, but you know, if you're Romeo Crennel, you got to figure out a way to make your quarterback better. You got to figure out a way to help your runners hold on to the football.
Chargers getting their first down since 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Chiefs just fumbled it. Chargers get it back. Here's a 1st and 10. Gaither, good block. Matthews underneath. Hit by Flowers, drilled by Haley to the 31. That is a catch and run of 8 for Ryan Matthews, who they traded up to get a couple years ago.
This is identical to the play that Matthews fumbled on in the inside the 5-yard line 1 week ago. You see Haley came over and laid a lick on him just before he hit the ground. Sean Weatherspoon of the Falcons hit him the same way, and the ball came out. So you see improvement. Matthews holding on to the rock.
There have been other guys
being stuck.
There have been other guys, excuse me, that have had problems. Adrian Peterson fumbled the ball a lot, as did J.K. Barber.
And it's typically just before you hit the ground, fighting for that extra yard. But you have to remember, protection of the ball is priority number 1.
2nd down and 2. Belcher had a hand on him as Matthews runs down to about the 26 and picks up 4.
You and I were talking. We were in our discussion room. You said, well, what if you're lunging towards that 1st down marker? Or do you stick the ball out then? I said, that 1 yard, it's not worth risking getting the 1 yard. Protecting the football is. And every coach will tell you that. If you're going to lunge for 1 more yard or protect the football, we'd rather you protect the football.
Well, in his career, and it's been a very short career, 11 turnovers in his career, 6 lost in those fumbles, 3 inside the red zone, including 1 last week against Atlanta. Here he gets it on 1st and 10. Gates with the block. Belcher with the tackle. Spot him at about the 23 on a gain of 4.
I think his teammate Antonio Gates, when we talked to him, the 10-year veteran, said that last week they may have put too much too soon on Ryan Matthews. He had been out with a broken clavicle. Last week against the Falcons was his first game back, and I went back, I watched the tape. He was getting the ball, catching it out of the backfield. They were running him. He was getting a tremendous workload immediately after coming back from that injury. And I think Antonio Gates was being very fair. So we have to help our teammate to get his confidence back and not put such a workload on him so quickly after he returns.
Idle is in, 2nd down and 6. Couple tight ends. Jackie Battle. To the teeth of that defense, Ali and also Greenwood making the stop. What is interesting, too, about Norv Turner, you brought this up yesterday. When he was the Dallas offensive coordinator, had Emmitt Smith, his attempts rose. He had Ricky Williams in Miami for a couple years. His carries rose. Same with Frank Gore in San Francisco. He likes giving running backs a lot of carries.
And that's why I can't really go with the fact that when people are talking about Norv Turner's offenses are soft, or his teams are soft, you look at the runners that he have empowered and the kind of offense that he has put on the football field. They're tough, hard-nosed runners playing tough, hard-nosed football.
Ronnie Brown in the backfield, multiple numbers there in the secondary for the Chiefs. 3rd and a short 4. That's Brown on the move. He was hit by Rout. The catch and run take him down to the 5. A 15-yard gain by Ronnie Brown and a 1st and goal.
Ronnie Brown has always been a really good catcher of the ball coming out of the backfield. He played for Norv Turner, as you talked about, when he was in Miami. And there he is catching the ball coming out of the backfield right now. Norv Turner knows how to use running backs to fuel his offense, whether it's running the football or whether it's catching it coming out of the backfield.
Ronnie, 6 years in Miami, drafted by Nick Saban. And he was that coach. 1st and goal, they're going to put him at the 4. Battle is in. There's a block by McLean. And there wasn't a whole lot of breathing space in there, bottom of that pile. Dontari Poe, a rookie first-round pick out of Memphis. No gain, 2nd and goal.
And as you take a look at Jackie Battle, he started the game today in place of Ryan Matthews. Norv Turner was quick to say, hey, I have not lost confidence in Ryan Matthews. Said he spoke to Matthews this week and said, I still believe that you could be one of the elite backs in the National Football League. We're just going to spread out the workload because we have other talented backs back there like Jackie Battle and Ronnie Brown as well. So Matthews is still a focal point of this offense, even though he did not start today.
2 tight ends, 2nd and goal at the 4. Good time. Rivers, touchdown. Jackie Battle. 4-yard grab, his 2nd touchdown today.
Oh, this is just an incredible play. Rivers really wanted to go over to the right, and Antonio Gates and one of the receivers got tied up, and he goes back to his left. Watch the head of Rivers. Watch, he looks, see right there, he goes right to the left, boom. He finds his running back Battle wide open. As he was looking to the back of the end zone, he came back to the left side in his progression.
2nd touchdown pass for Phillip. Touchdown run of a yard by Battle earlier in the game. A 4-yard reception right there. And the extra point is up and in by Novak. First career reception in the end zone. Battle, the former Chief, coming back, starting today and leading the Chargers over Kansas City. Well, Phillip Rivers, who has been facing tons of pressure this season, got a new left tackle today. It has seemed his time is more. Unofficially, we've got him with only 8 pressures and 23 throws, which is about, what, a third or so. So he was 45 coming in. He's about 30% or more, 33% perhaps, in the return for Gray on a 33-yard return. So he's had some breathing space, and it has paid off as the Chargers have built up a 34-13 lead. Chiefs had a chance today, had they won, to have a tie for first place with the Chargers, who came in 2-1 and alone in first place. Kansas City at 1-2. Looking pretty slim right now. 1st and 10. They go outside to John Baldwin, who's brought down by Demario Williams on a gain of 12 and a first down.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs have really handed this game over to the San Diego Chargers. First quarter interception, Matt Castle. Then first quarter fumble by Jamal Charles. He puts it on the ground again in the second quarter. Then by an interception after that. Then another 3rd interception by Castle. Then Drones puts it on the ground for the 6th turnover on the day.
They were 5 in the secondary. Weddle was right there. Charles has been splitting time with Drone in the backfield. A 13-yard run right there.
But you can't rest on Jamal Charles. If you're a linebacker and you're supposed to get outside, then get outside. And you can't allow him to turn up the field. If you're Demario Williams, you were responsible for containing the ball on the play.
1st down and 10. 3 interceptions by Castle today. A little bit high. We have Jammer and Bo jousting on the side. Coming up in the Subway postgame show, we'll take you to our New York studios. James Brown, Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, Boomer Esiason, and Coach Bill Cowher for the latest NFL scores and highlights. All coming up on the Subway postgame show. Boomer and I will be in Dallas tomorrow night for Monday Night Football. The Bears and the Cowboys. 2nd down and 10. And this is the shifty rookie, Gray. Knocked out of bounds by Weddle. There were a lot of new players on the San Diego Chargers coming in. 22 new players, almost half the roster turned over coming into the season.
Yeah, watch this move put on Case. Look at that. Wow. Gray's able to move, but you're right. The San Diego Chargers have quietly turned over their roster. Looks like Sean Phillips is down on the play. They're going to come out and take a look at him.
All right, here it's 34-13 San Diego. Let's take you to New York and James.
Kevin and Solomon. Cam Newton.
The Panthers takes the lead on JP on this play right here, guys. Kealoha Polaris. 36-yard catch. 28-24. Panthers on top of the Falcons in the Georgia Dome.
Cam, 15 of 23, 215 yards, 2 touches, 7 rushes for 75 yards, and a rushing TD. Kevin and Solomon.
Okay, guys, thank you. After looking so bad on Thursday night, a game that you covered for NFL Network against the Giants, he's come back today and played well.
Yeah, 10 days to prepare for the Atlanta Falcons going on the road, not too far from the Charlotte area. And the Carolina Panthers knew they had to bounce back. And taking advantage of the 10 days to prepare.
Phillips will leave. Mario Williams, who is coming in with a hamstring issue anyway, will take his place. 5 in the secondary. 1st and 10 for Kansas City with Charles in the backfield. And hit. It looked like maybe Barnes is the one to get him. He did. Loss of 2. Back to about the 32. If Norv Turner goes on to win this game, he will tie Don Coryell on the all-time win list in NFL history. Well, he was a longtime coach for the Chargers. 2nd down and 12. Charles Williams grabs him. Williams basically a special teamer with Kansas City and certainly in San Diego. A 5-yard gain right there to the 28.
He looks like pretty good linebacker, too.
He does. He came from Atlanta. He came from Atlanta as a free agent to Kansas City a handful of years ago. Last year, these Chargers started 4-1, then lost 6 straight, then went 4-1 to finish things off. The win today, they'll go to 3-1. And in first place, Castle. Oh, he sure is. Wobbly pass. That is a touchdown. And they beat Kaysen. 29-yard touchdown pass. Castle to Bo.
And Bo had caught 6 passes in the first half, and up until this one had been shut out here in the second half. It's a double move on Kaysen. Why would you ever bite on this when you got this kind of lead? You don't bite on the short route. You play deep. You give away games. You allow teams to come back when you take the bait on that kind of play.
And we told you early in the game that he was coming into this one with a bit of a groin injury that he suffered this week. And we saw him practice on Friday. Looked good. He's had a pretty decent outing certainly today with the touchdown pass there. Over 100 yards receiving. 108 and a touchdown on 7 catches by Dwayne Bowe. #1 pick out of LSU 6 years ago. Extra point is up and in. And Bowe beating Kaysen. Got it from Castle. 34-20 San Diego. Well, 5.5 to play. 3 timeouts. I'm assuming an onside kick here.
Yeah, if I'm San Diego, you got to be prepared for the onside kick.
He's only 1 of 11 in his career. Succop is. Let's see what happens here. Little chip. And he says, onside? What onside?
That's okay. We'll take it at the 20 as long if you're San Diego, as long as you get the ball. Now take a look at this play here, Kevin. Here's Antoine Kaysen, and here's Dwayne Bowe. He's going to go deep. Now we call this the double move, but with such great depth, if you're Kaysen, sit back. You don't want to jump this route because there's nothing behind you there. And then this is just too easy of a touchdown play. You allow Bowe to get behind you, you try to recover, but by then it's too late.
Battle in the backfield. There are 2 tight ends, one of which is Gates atop your screen with the 1st and 10. Battle. Vasquez pulling, Clary blocking, and Jackson tackling. Gain of 7 on the play. They'll put him up to the 27-yard line.
Well, you got to love the way that they've been able to hold on to the ball. If you're the San Diego Chargers, only 1 turnover. Phillip Rivers throws an interception, but the ball carriers for the Chargers have been very strong. After that fumble by Ryan Matthews 1 week ago, Jackie Battle gets the start. He's been sure-handed. Ronnie Brown been sure-handed, and Ryan Matthews in tough situations has showed that he can put 2 hands over the ball to protect it.
No!
Matthews in right now. 2nd down and 3. Ryan Matthews got away from Flowers. Chased by Belcher. Has the 1st down. Angled out of bounds. At about the 35. A pickup of 8. 1st down, San Diego.
And this is why Norv Turner is not giving up on Ryan Matthews. He runs hard. He's a big body runner. But watch the wicked stiff arm he puts on Belcher. And Belcher hits the ground so hard right there. Look at that. That was just that's how you protect yourself and the football if you're Ryan Matthews.
So before the Chargers atop the AFC West, the only division without an undefeated team or at least 2 teams with a winning record. 1st and 10. Ryan again. Nice block by McClain. Nice block by Floyd, who's been shut out here in the second half. The tackle was eventually made by Corey Greenwood. Gain of 9, and we'll go to the 44.
I like Ryan Matthews. I told you, I put the tape on, Kevin. I after reading everything about the game, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to see a guy who maybe didn't run hard. He fumbled. No, he was running hard. I mean, he was giving the Atlanta Falcons fits coming back off that broken clavicle injury. And then he gets down inside the 5-yard line. He fumbles, it derails and robs the Chargers of great momentum. And Norv Turner said we were probably only going to get 4 possessions per half. We can't squander them fumbling the football.
2nd and 1. Blocked by Gaither. And there you see the nice dart ahead by Matthews and a gain of 6, and down he goes. You know, it's interesting, we're talking about turnovers in the game. The last time the Chargers were here, remember Phillip Rivers fumbled a snap as San Diego was moving in to attempt a game-winning field goal in overtime. And they lost the ball. But today, they have been very good. They had 4 turnovers last week against Atlanta. Not today. They've been very clean in terms of that. Timeout. Here in Kansas City, coming up, the Subway postgame show. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowers. Scores, news, highlights, all coming up in the Subway postgame show from our CBS studios in New York.
Matt Castle, is this one of those days he's not going to want to remember? 20 of 34. Yes, he has over 200 yards passing in this game after getting his 2nd touchdown pass, his most recent one to Dwayne Bowe, but the 3 interceptions have been costly. You know, you were talking before about all the offensive coordinators he's had to go through and how that's certainly made a very unsettling environment for him. Yeah, 5 offensive coordinators over the last 4 years. That's been tough. Remember Chan Gailey, Todd Haley, Charlie Weiss, Bill Muir, now Brian Daboll.
1st and 10. Matthews, great cutting ability, and you see the acceleration before Elam brings him to the ground at the 36. A burst of 14, another first down, and on this drive, runs of 8, 9, and 14 right there.
He is a player. Look at the balance. Look at the vision. Watch this. Nice cutback right there, and then run to daylight. And he understands, protect the football. You saw that there, Kevin? Mm-hmm. You learn. They've gotten this attention, but you can still be the effective runner, as you saw there, darting and cutting for more yards, but still protecting the football.
Well, even his general manager came out and said, listen, there are 3 steps here to watching a guy who has fumbling problems try to get out of it, or us try to correct it.
Oh, absolutely. And obviously, you've got to be able to hold it high and tight at the 3 points of contact with the football as a runner. But I still believe as you're going to the ground, as you're fighting for more yards, you can't expose the ball. You have to pull it even closer and cover it with that second arm, as you saw Ryan Matthews doing that play, and that was something he did not do 1 week ago.
Matthews has rushed for 56 yards, 55 of those coming here in the second half, and a lone Charger fan enjoying his time here on a beautiful afternoon in Kansas City, where they brought in another member to their Ring of Honor here in Kansas City, the multiple Pro Bowler, All-Pro guard Will Shields. First down and 10. Ron McClain knifes his way in, looked like Greenwood, and Vitola Tua makes the stop. There's Will. They honored him and his family. He's got a pretty good son. He was a basketball player, I understand, and Will was here with his family today, and he was a 3rd-round pick out of, I think he was 3rd. I should probably go take a look at that, but he was drafted out of Nebraska and was just part of a terrific Kansas City line back in the day. And
remember some of the offensive lines they've had here with Will Shields, Willie Roaf, some of the big road grading offensive lines blocking for Priest Holmes. They've had some good ones.
Yeah, they have. Timeout was taken. Kansas City just burned their final timeout. 6 consecutive runs to start this drive for the San Diego Chargers. We mentioned this at the beginning of the game. The Chiefs, here we are in week 4. The Chiefs do have a win. They got it last week in overtime in New Orleans, but they have never led during a game this year. Yet they had a chance coming in, had they won, to be in a tie for first place. 2nd down and 6. Matthews picking and poking his way before he was close to a first down on that drive. At the bottom of the pile is Poe. Gain of 6. Now the Chargers, who won at Oakland, won at home against Tennessee, lost at home last week against Atlanta, will be in New Orleans. Coming up Now the Saints today play up at Lambeau in Green Bay against the Packers, and of course you all know after watching a week's worth of replays about what happened to the Packers up in Seattle last Monday night. So that's almost a more interesting game in terms of psyches. You know, what is the psyche of Green Bay? And what about New Orleans? And coach is gone. The late signing of Breeze, the Bounty Gate, and all the things surrounding that team. They're an 0-3 team.
But in Green Bay, the way Mike McCarthy handled the crises or whatever you want to call it that occurred in Seattle and not getting the proper call anyway, I think he set the tone and tenor for his football team not to worry about it. Put it behind us. We can't change it. He's not going to gripe over it. He's not going to whine. He knows that there's a lot of football left to be played. I thought he had the right mindset because he knows that players adopt the mindset of their coach. And if you want your team to move on, then you yourself as a coach have to be able to move on.
Timeout was taken by San Diego. The Chiefs are out of timeouts. The Chargers have one remaining. The Chiefs a season ago, you may recall, began 0-3, then won 4 consecutive games to kind of get back in it. And I think that the one thing is they take on Baltimore next week here. Then they're at Tampa. The one thing that I think teams kind of hang their hat on is if we can stay somewhat healthy and get to December 1st right around 500, as we've seen with Green Bay 2 years ago and the Giants last year, you've got a shot at it.
You got a shot at it. And that's why you can't panic in September. But, boy, once you go 1-3, it just feels like you really got a tremendous uphill climb.
3rd and 1, Matthews. Right to the teeth of that defense. Belcher met him as he was trying to go airborne. No gain on the play. 4th and 1. So they'll probably go for 3 here, certainly. And with no timeouts, the Chiefs cannot stop the clock. This will take us to the 2-minute warning.
How about this? Everyone in San Diego, after the loss, scoring only 3 points at home last week against the Falcons, they thought the sky was falling. You get a win on the road at Kansas City and Arrowhead Stadium. Now you go to 3-1 after your first 4 games. The sky's going to be blue again in San Diego.
Well, the hopes are high. They've missed the playoffs the last 2 consecutive seasons, and we are at the 2-minute warning. Well, they told us on Friday at practice that Rivers threw the ball, in the words of Norv, about as well as I've seen him throw it. Here they have a 4th down now. They're going to try a 45-yard field goal. Novak replacing the injured Nick Kading. I'm sure he's back in California watching. Here is a 45-yard try, and he'll send it through. Remember, when Kading was injured in the first play last year, they brought in Novak, who went 27 of 34 and was a very good field goal kicker, and he was still in San Diego as he competed in training camp with Kading. Kading won, but Novak stayed, and Novak called upon, and here he is. And I'd like to tell you, Tuesday on CBS, CY Vegas is the #1 news show on television. And if you haven't seen it, and maybe it's on your DVR, I don't know, watch it soon. Vegas only on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47.
There's Novak, and he's knocked in 3 of them today. I want to go back to Phillip Rivers because I love what he told us when he came in and met with us yesterday. He threw 2 interceptions last week against the Atlanta Falcons. He said he woke up here in Kansas City, he heard the band playing, and he said, he thought to himself, I don't want to make mistakes. He said, you know what, I'm not playing careful. I'm not going to go out there. I'm just going to go out and sling it and make plays. Well, he did do that. He came out, had great rhythm. He had a couple of touchdown passes. Yeah, he had the 1 interception, but you just love the confidence and swagger he brings to the position. He wasn't going to play careful. He wanted to be aggressive and proactive throwing the football today, and that's why we've seen this offense put up 37 points today.
He looks like a rested man. He and his wife have a bunch of kids, so I'm sure there's not a lot of time to get a lot of shut-eye at home. So
but he's sleeping on the road.
Sleeping on the road.
And you know that, right?
Oh, yeah. We both know that.
On the road, in the hotel, best sleep ever.
Oh, here's a little onside kick, which bounces over Copper. It was touched by the Chargers. It's out of bounds.
Eric Weddle should have had the ball.
On the onside kick, and late attempting to grab it was Corey Lynch.
It was a good play. It was by design. Novak, heck of a kick by him. It was an onside kick. Now watch Weddle, 32. Get the ball. Get the ball. Just stay on your feet. Get the ball. Had a real opportunity to recover it.
Brandon Seiler, an ex-Charger, who missed last year with an ACL, is close to the ball as well, as you just saw in that replay. Anyway, here come the Chiefs. Under 2 to play, no timeouts, and down by a 37-20 count. After that field goal, 45 yards moments ago. Charles still digging. He was the top rusher in the NFL. Coming into today, an 8-yard gain right there by Charles with 92 yards. Solomon on 17 carries.
Remember, Kansas City has no timeouts remaining. North Turner, if they get the onside kick, they're going to just run out the clock, right? They're going to take a knee to get this game over.
6 in the secondary, that's Moeaki. And he was belted across the way by Jammer, close to a first down. Moeaki was one of the 3 Kansas City players a year ago that they were lost for the season. He was lost in preseason, a game up in Green Bay, blew a knee. He was gone. They lost Charles, and he was gone
as well.
And Eric Berry. Charles is gone up in Detroit, week 2, and then they lost Berry. So, and the Berry injury came against Buffalo on the season opener a year ago. Here.
And now Jeff Allen goes down, the rookie left guard.
And he started today for the first time in his career as a high draft pick out of Illinois. There's an injury timeout here, so they're going to run off 10 seconds on the clock, which we faced last week with the replacement of you and I were in Washington, D.C. doing the Bengals and the Redskins, and the guy came on and said, we're not running off 10 seconds. There's a 4th timeout.
That was his option. That was his option.
He audibled on us. So Lilja, who is the normal left guard, they gave him a first down. And it goes outside, and it's incomplete. Russ Hochstein, by the way, is the new left guard. He was signed this week, the former Bronco, and most of his career spent with the New England Patriots. And as many of you know, there's a New England feel here in Kansas City with the general manager Scott Pioli and the head coach Romeo Crennel. And, of course, Matt Castle.
Oh, Hochstein's got Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, he does.
So Scott Pioli knows where to go find players.
He was a backup for the Broncos last year was Russ Hochstein. And here's a 2nd and 10 for Castle. Moeaki, real hit hard by Atari Bigby. He led the team in tackles last week against Atlanta with 15, and Bigby comes in as a leading tackler today. So 36 seconds remaining. Crowd is heading home. And they'll get ready for Baltimore next week, which will be tough.
Oh, yeah.
You and I are going to San Francisco and get a first-hand look at those San Francisco 49ers.
Wow,
and they are good.
A heavyweight of a defense. They can land a knockout blow any point in the ball game. There was no doubt.
Second down and 10. Short. It's caught here by Drone. Riding him down was Atari Bigby and Vaughn Martin. 16-yard pickup. Clock continues to go. The Chiefs out of timeouts. The Chargers with 1. Ball be placed at the 24. Will be 1st and 10. Did they not? Quick spike. So 2nd down and 10.
Absolutely.
That was a very quick spike.
Very quick.
In fact, it was like a Houdini spike. You didn't even see it. Chiefs will go to 1-3 and face in Baltimore next week. Chargers are 1-1, to 3-1. For the first month, they said they'd take that 3-1 record. Hassel. And that is caught by the former offensive lineman, Steve Maneri. Here's another New England Patriot player, a converted lineman, now a tight end, and they don't count the reception.
They're going to wave it off.
Waved it away. 3rd and 10 coming up.
Well, Matt Castle's got to do a better job of beginning games just in greater rhythm and just making better decisions. That first interception in the first quarter on his first possession was just a bad decision, but it's the same bad decision we saw Phillip Rivers make on his 1 interception of the game.
Chargers with 24 points off 6 Kansas City turnovers today. Here's a 3rd and 10. And we got bodies moving, as you can see. We talked to Antonio Gates yesterday as well, and he was saying of all the years he's been on the team, it's the deepest team that he has been on.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down. There's no 10-second runoff with the delay.
Well, it's been good to have the regular officials back today, Solomon. They were such a story, and that built to a crescendo after the game in Seattle on Monday. And we have one of the better crews here in town, Bill Levy and his crew. And George Hayward, who was watching the sideline, 3rd and 15 right now. Castle getting away from Reyes. Tackle made by Jammer after the catch by John Baldwin. 13-yard gain, and that is all she wrote. San Diego wins it. They're in first place at 3-1 after 1 month. Quarterbacks meeting. And Norv Turner has tied Don Coryell in all-time wins in the history of pro football. Solomon Wilcots, Kevin Harlan saying so long from Kansas City. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. The Subway post-game show is coming up. We'll take you to New York after this.